Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
You're a terrible Foley artist.
I'm just going to do that during one of the podcasts. Like, anyway, guys, I got to take 30 seconds right now to talk about bottled water.
See, don't do that. God damn it.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. We have a fun show lined up today. And joining me as guest co-host this week, Chris Taylor. How the hell are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right.
The hell was that?
I don't know.
My name. You okay,
It's the
Chris?
pressure.
Things good?
That intense podcast co-hosting pressure.
Yeah, man. This is a stressful show. It's always high intensity and lots of craziness going on. You could fuck up at any moment. And on that note, welcoming our other guest at this time, making his very first podcast appearance, Cal Warner, musician. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, thanks for the welcome. I'm not bad, a little tired, and dealing with this bipolar fall weather we have. How are you?
The same. Where are you at?
Bronx, New York.
Oh, so I'm just a couple hours from you, and I feel the same fucked up weather that you do.
It's so ridiculous. And you know what's the worst? I was so confused because it was below 60 degrees 2 days ago. So I bought a coat and I wore it today thinking it was going to stay that way. And I started sweating. I was upset, but off topic. But yeah, that's how you do it, right?
Yeah, let's see. It is presently in the 40s over here, I think. And
Nice.
I had the air conditioner on earlier today. Because,
Did you really?
yeah, because it was hot as hell. I'm only over in Pennsylvania, so.
Oh, wow.
I'm your neighbor.
Hey,
And
neighbor.
Chris is hanging out down in Texas.
Ooh.
Taxes.
Texas.
One friend in Texas?
Nice. Well, now you got two.
Now I have two.
Yeah, this is the 2 weeks in which it is actually nice weather in Texas.
Nice.
So it's only mid-90s?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's I think it was just above 80. So kind of sunshiny, but also breezy. I don't know. It's
I like
nice.
how 80 is considered breezy and nice to you, where to me, mid-80s, I'm locked up in a freezer at home. Because fuck all of that. For me, 60s is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, I guess 70s would be perfect for me. The 60s is getting a bit on the nippy side.
So how much snow have you had in Texas, Chris, in your entire lifetime living there?
I think how much is the wrong way to put that question.
What do you
replace? Would you say that snow is a thing that exists?
how do you feel when you go to MagFest and you see snow and cold weather? Do you are you a happy dog who's jumping around in the snow for the first time in their life?
No. I think it's only been snowy the one time that I was at MagFest, that I would actually consider it pretty snowy. Cause it would be patchy, I suppose, most years, which really that is about as bad as it gets in Texas. It's basically what MagFest weather is. It's all weekend of this intense coldness that we get in Texas for about 3 hours a year. So it's 3 days instead of 3 hours of coldness.
I hear you say intense coldness, and in my brain, I could only think that you're referring to low 50s.
Probably.
Oh, man. So, Cal, welcome to the show. You are here to talk about an album that you just put out. Give us the details. Who are you? What is this album? Why are you on my show? Who's staring at me out the window right now?
I mean, I am a freelance composer. Generally, I tend to work more with video game projects just because that's where my heart always was. And, I got into game development a little bit. And so throughout the course of freelancing, I met someone who's basically a huge inspiration, and I have a lot of respect for her. And so I thought that it would have been a great idea to try telling a story in audio form and just use music as a storytelling mechanism to just create her story. And that's what this project really was. Anireal is basically like an autobiography approach to just like telling a beginning to end or a beginning to present story. No end. She's still alive, I promise. and I wanted to make it as like real and as deep, but also making it fun and relatable because it was heavily video game inspired. And that's why I'm here.
Nice.
Why are you here?
I host the show for some stupid reason. I have nothing better to do with my life. I really don't.
Oh my goodness. That's a great answer.
And then I bribed Chris. I have some incriminating photos of him.
True.
I guess that doesn't even want to be here. You're comedians.
So you mentioned that you've done a lot with video game and video game music. I listened to your album, or I tried to listen to the whole thing. I've been very, very busy this week, so I listened to most of the album, and it seemed like every single song I'm sitting there thinking, where do I know this song from? Where do I know this song from? This sounds so familiar. And then before the show, you told me that they're all original pieces, and I feel like an asshole now.
No. Honestly, I thought it was flattering. I don't know. I don't take it as like anything negative. I mean, I definitely didn't copy anything, but I just feel like because I was always like working with, playing video games mostly, right? Before I even got into music, I was like that person who would always sit in the sound test menu before I played the game, right? So I'm listening to the tracks before the game even starts. And so I have so many different inspirations, like from Castlevania, Super Mario, Donkey Kong, Final Fantasy, like it all comes in. And I kind of just unleashed all of that in this one thing. So maybe if you've played anything in that realm, it might have been a little familiar because that's just how I learned how to like interpret music from those styles. But they're all originals, yeah.
Castlevania, Final Fantasy. You're talking my childhood, man.
Oh, God, I loved it.
Chris, it sounds like we've met your spirit animal.
Hey, Chris. Pleasure.
Hey. I do like video game music. I've been known to dabble.
Yeah, I realized I had a problem with it when, like, when I was young and still doing that, it was fine. But then when I got to like maybe middle school and like I had friends over at this point, and when I was doing this whole sound test menu thing, they were like, "What are you doing? Like, just let's play," and it was kind of frustrating. I get it, but I loved it, and I was just hooked. Even now, my iPod has like 90% music on it from video games.
Nice,
sweet.
What are some of your favorites over the years?
Like of all time, just anything?
Yeah, all time. Favorite video game soundtracks, favorite video game cover albums, stuff like that. Like, what tickles your fancy?
Oh man, like Final Fantasy IX was the game that told me basically I have to write music for video games. So I think that one was really good, and just because like the main composer Uematsu, he definitely. He wrote so many tracks for that game, and he did it all by himself. And it was something new. It was like different styles as opposed to like all tension. It was like a little bit of reggae, a little bit of Latin. He just really pushed himself in that soundtrack. But even now, to this day, I still have Super Castlevania 4 ready to go. I still have tons and tons of Donkey Kong, Sticker Brush Symphony. David Wise is like a genius to me. And like even the more modern games, which is interesting. Like, even though I don't play them as much, I like the Halo soundtracks, like from ODST particularly. They were really emotional. Like, I don't know. I'm usually a big fan of buzzes, clicks, and the kind of 8-bit stuff, but then orchestral stuff really gets me like kind of in that zone as well. What about you?
I'm thrilled that you mentioned Halo. It's not often that you hear people mention Halo as something that they enjoy music-wise. Normally, it's always Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy. It's always the big stuff. But more modern stuff, that you never hear that much when you talk about influences and like what inspires you to create music. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, I think as long as the music is good at helping the story progress, I think I'm gonna feel it. And there were just moments of the game when I was like not fighting anybody, just like walking around, and like there would be a tune that came on. I'm just like, wow, this is really setting the scene. And so I would just go stalk YouTube and just find it. Like, where is it? What's the name of the song? I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really in tune to that kind of stuff. And I know Halo gets some hate from now, but I don't know. I still think it's a great series. It did what it has to do, and it's probably not the best or as good as it used to be, but it had its moments.
Well, I don't think Chris could chime in because he's not an Xbox player. He's just firmly in the retro games.
Oh yeah,
I played on the first Xbox. I still have mine.
Oh wow.
Anyway, Halo is classic. Did you know that it's over 16 years old?
Oh my god. Really?
Man. We all just like dated ourselves.
I was gonna say, like, Halo was released in the middle point between now and the release of the NES.
Damn.
That's how I like to age video game things.
Well, since we're dating ourselves, I was born in 81.
Nice. I was born in 90.
Oh god, you're so young.
Over here.
Oh my god, I'm the old one.
I'm the old one.
Fuck.
Oldest. I'm still old.
Yeah, we're dying, Chris.
We don't have longer. We gotta get this podcast going before it all ends.
Oh yeah, I'm doing this until the Reaper comes a knocking, and then the show will end. This is what keeps me going week to week.
This is like a special Halloween, depressing autumn of your life episode of SML.
I'm gonna have to find some good Halloween music for next week on the show.
I can help. I've definitely had a lot of suggestions coming from my club.
Oh, you should talk about your club. Maybe Cal could join it.
Maybe, I don't know. He'd have to get approved by an admin.
Fancy.
Ooh. I have a club on Facebook. It's called Hidden Sound Test Obscure Video Game Music. And that's all we do is we listen to obscure video game music. Everybody puts up YouTube links or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. It's I just started it a while ago based on a conversation I had with somebody where we were like trying to find like the best obscure music, and we were pulling out stuff like Microsoft Puzzle Collection on the Game Boy Color.
Oh Lord,
things like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and just figuring out all this good obscure stuff. And I was like, I think I'm going to start a group for this and some other friends I have that are way into like general video game music, and I decided to kind of make it a public group. So I did, and a couple of years later, we're up to like almost 3,000 people, including some of the composers of the music. So,
oh wow,
dude, that's really, I didn't know it got that
amazing.
big. I've been in that group since near the beginning, and I didn't know it got that big and that so many composers were joining it. That's really, really cool.
Well, we're just about to hit 2,500 members, so I was stretching a little bit there.
You fucking liar.
I know, right? It's not once you get over 2,000, though, like the only thing that counts is the next 1,000.
Yeah, or the next 500 or so, right? I believe you.
Hey, I just hit 500 subs on YouTube, and I'm like over the moon. I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
It only took me 4.5 years.
Yeah, link me the channel. I'll subscribe after the show.
Will do. I don't know why you would, but I will.
Well, because he's on it. You get to hear his lovely voice.
That's right. The joke's on you. I really wanted to hear myself talk this whole time. I was waiting for this.
Hey, we're all narcissists deep down inside.
Sometimes right on the surface.
Very true. I am the best. I'm also the worst, but I'm also the best.
Sometimes being the worst is in a way being the best, because you're the best at being bad. I don't know. I think there's a song that goes like that or something.
There's got to be a song. There's got to be a song.
Gotta be some songs about being bad.
Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there are no songs that have ever been written about being bad. I could have just been imagining it.
Bad to the Bone. There's one I remember. When I was a kid, we listened to Bad to the Bone.
I listened to it on Rock and Roll Racing.
Oh, man. Rock and Roll Racing.
Wasn't that the best game?
Damn.
I don't remember this one.
Oh, it was so good.
16-bit metal soundtrack.
Yeah, like actual like licensed songs, and they were recreated by Tim Fallon, who's one of the best video game composers around.
Oh no, I want to look up all the songs in that soundtrack.
There's only like 5 or 6, but they're all great. I could tell you off the top of my head without you looking it up. But whatever.
That doesn't surprise me that you know them all. So let's hear them. What are the songs?
So we got Paranoid by Black Sabbath. We've got Highway Star by Deep Purple. We've got the Peter Gunn theme, which I think was written by Henry Mancini. I'm not sure. And we got Bad to the Bone, which was it Chip? No,
George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Thank you. And then Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf.
There's apparently Radar Love in the game as well from Golden Earring.
Interesting. I wonder where that's.
Allegedly, it's on a Spotify playlist, so it might be wrong. They might be a liar.
Maybe. Well, there were 2 remakes of the game. There was a Genesis port, which Fallen did not work on, but it has the same songs, just not as good. And there's the Game Boy Advance port, which might have an extra thing in it. It has some extras.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's not because I'm scholarly that I know that game. I played it a lot when I was a teenager. It was one of those games. Like the ultimate evolution of the RC Pro-Am, like isometric racer.
That was fun. Didn't it have a track editor too? Or am I thinking of a different game?
I think you're thinking of a different game. I don't remember what racing game had a track editor. Oh, actually, no. I think I do know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it's called.
Man. I hate getting old.
I don't know. I know, right? You start to forget video game stuff, and then you're like, well, my brain's really fried now.
Oh, no.
It is.
Video game.
I'm falling apart in like every way lately. Just getting old. Getting busy. Tis the season of like every game on the planet is coming out, so shit's just hectic.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how much stuff's coming out.
So what games are you guys looking forward to this fall?
Oh man.
Oh, my big one just came out yesterday. 2 days ago, and I haven't even got a chance to play it yet.
Which one?
Etrian Odyssey 5.
I bought that. I'm looking at it right now, but it's still in the wrapper. I don't know when I'm going to get to play it either.
Same.
I was like waiting on that for so long, and it's funny because I still have part 2, the Fafnir Knight, still in the wrapper too. It's like there's just so much I have to get to. It kind of sucks. Yeah, I have a backlog now. When did that happen?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's all about that backlog.
I had a massive backlog, and then I started doing reviews on this show, and oh my god.
Your backlog is much larger than your front log.
I wish I was just back to having a normal backlog. That would be incredible. But it's insane.
I wish I was as bad at playing games as I was before this happened. Before the event.
So what else? What else are you guys looking forward to this fall? What about you, Cal?
I don't know. Is that Final Fantasy VII Remake happening this fall? Is that going to happen?
Oh,
no, not this fall. Hell no.
Not at all, right?
No, that was the year at E3 where Sony was like, hey, look, here's a bunch of games that are coming out in like 14 years. Get excited now.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't know. Besides, I think all the games that I've been really waiting for just came out. And I got my Etrian Odyssey. I just picked up The Evil Within 2. And Life is Strange 2. So I don't really have anything that's really pressing at the moment. Maybe Mario Odyssey? Maybe? Is that a thing?
I am
That's
so
gonna be fun.
hyped for Mario Odyssey. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
And then just next Friday alone is insane with Mario Odyssey, Wolfenstein, and Assassin's Creed all next Friday.
What are you going to do with your life?
Cry?
What life? He just talked
What
about
life?
games coming out.
I'm still trying to figure out when the hell I'm going to play Shadow of War in South Park.
Oh, that's right.
Like, there's just so much and not enough time in the day. It is insane.
No, there really isn't. But I never used to understand Let's Plays, but now I'm starting to get it. Now I'm really starting to get it.
That's what
Yeah, you
Chris
really
has
have
been doing lately.
Yeah.
It's true. I'm a Twitch guy.
Do you stream as well as like?
Yeah, it's erroneous to say I'm much of an LPer. It's more like I stream, and then my streams that are pretty good wind up on my YouTube channel, just as a backup. Just so I can be like, well, I played Secret of Mana, here's the proof.
Right.
Yeah, I have a stream. It's more or less like focused on retro stuff, and sometimes I play things I review on here before I review them.
Nice.
So, yeah. I played 3 Souls on it, and it wasn't that great at streaming because it required 2 screens, which,
Yeah,
so I had
you.
I had to read all of it out loud.
Oh, remember the Wii U?
Oh yeah, I love the Wii U because I just transferred all my. So I don't know if it's news or not, but I just found out recently that you can transfer all your old Wii Virtual Console games to the Wii U. So all these games that I bought, probably about 40 of them, back in 2007 or so, now I have access to them again. So that's really great.
Yay!
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's tricky when your original Wii is broken, but I managed. That's
How did you manage that, by the way? You mentioned you were trying to do it. How did you do it with a broken Wii?
Well, okay, so the Wii works sometimes, and I just kept turning it off and on again until I got to those times. And the funny thing is that it was working slow, like bit by bit. So I would turn it on, and it would be like, the system is corrupted, you can't, and like it'd be like garbled, garbage graphics as well. So I was like, wow, this is really messed up. And so I turned it off, and I turned the system upside down and turned it back on, and then I got the menu. But anytime I clicked on anything, nothing would load. And so I turned it in a different direction, upside down, and put a book on top of it. And then I got the menu, and then stuff would click, but it wouldn't connect to the internet. And so,
what the hell?
I just kept doing more and more elaborate things, and finally, I got the internet channel to work. And I started to download the Wii U transfer tool, which was the big thing there now because everybody's doing this. And it actually gave me an internet error that I had to call Nintendo over. And both the people I talked to at Nintendo had never heard, or was there never a file created for the type of internet problem I had. So I actually broke Nintendo with my bad Wii.
Proud of you. That's pretty impressive.
Finally I turned the system off and turned it back on and found out that the Wii transfer tool actually had transferred. So again, slowly but surely, I was able to get it to complete the transfer process, which is really stressful because it's about a 40-minute process of it writing everything to an SD card the slow way. Because if you remember, the Wii wouldn't use a high-speed card nor a card larger than 2 gigabytes.
Oh God!
Because it's 11 years old as the system now.
Oh my God, it's 11. Why is it everything that we talk about is this is how old it is?
This is how old it is.
It's a new A Perfect Circle song came out this week, and I was excited. And then I read the one article. It's next year they're going to be releasing their first album in 14 years. Oh.
Yeah. You remember that SNES Classic mini thing? It's 27 years old now.
God.
I don't know how it happened.
Cal, did you get an SNES Classic?
No, I didn't get a chance.
No.
They'll come out again.
Yeah?
I'm seeing people like...
They've been showing up in stores.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more people. I dare say all of my friends, literally, that were looking for one before now have one. So... Yeah, and GameStop apparently got restocked recently, too.
And then you live in New York, so you could just hit up Nintendo World on like...
I was just gonna bring that up. It's always here, but I think that Nintendo knew what they were doing. They definitely put like less than they they wanted to just create the hype and create the rush for the system. They totally have a ton more, but they're gonna just release it in doses.
Well, I can tell you as an old guy that I remember that story going all the way back to Zelda 2 launching. And Nintendo's always denied that that's what they do. They're always like, we just literally don't know what people are going to buy.
I wonder if I tell you the truth.
That's been their story since there's been a Nintendo of America. So I don't know. It's always going to be like the conjecture and hearsay of the internet.
It could be true because look at things like they put how much money in that, what the hell was it? The Amiibo Festival, the Animal Crossing thing on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They included 2 Amiibo with it. They had a big marketing push, sold like shit, clearance out for $10 at GameStop.
Oh yeah.
And then even something, look at Earthbound. They went big in with an advertising push on that, despite the fact that they fucked it up with this game stinks. They had the giant box. They made strategy guides and included it, and those got clearanced out.
Oh yeah.
And now the game is worth $1,000.
I don't think it's hit $1,000 yet. Even complete in box, I think it's half $1,000, but that's still.
I've seen it in the high 800-900s already for complete in box. That's
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And then that's the other thing is that like I don't think they enjoy the fact that it's hard to get a hold of. I mean they've released it on 3 systems now, like that aren't the Super Nintendo.
True.
So. Yeah, they didn't put it on the original Wii, but I don't think they even knew then because they made Mother 3 and like they didn't know how much demand there was for that game. Like, I think they know now, and I feel like they're probably going to do something about it. I really think they are going to, but I don't know.
I hope so. Every year at E3, like people do E3 bingos, and for Nintendo, there's always a announce Mother 3.
Yeah.
I'm starting to give up on it.
It would be great if they did. But, I mean, I have my repro card. I have the fantastic Tomato translation. I think it's his name, right? Tomato?
Mm-hmm. Clyde Mandolin, I think.
Yeah, that guy. He's great. He's a nice person, too.
I never met him. I don't know.
I only know about him through mutuals. So, but he seems like a nice person.
Yeah, I have an original card of it, but I don't know. I want to play it officially instead of a ROM or a translation. I've been tempted to pick up a repro cart, but I don't know. I feel dirty.
You could learn Japanese.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Not at my age. I'm beyond that. I think I remember 6 words from high school Spanish for 4 years.
Oh, nice.
So Japanese ain't happening.
It's a hard language if you didn't know.
I can imagine.
Sure, nobody's ever thought to tell you.
Cal, are you a Mother fan, Earthbound fan?
I was hoping you didn't ask me. So here's the thing. I love Ness. I love the character, but I never actually played Mother. I never did. It's just one of those things that just completely left my eyesight.
Now's the time, man, because I'm one of the bigger Earthbound fans out there who's going to tell you that, yeah, you need to play it.
I heard like it was really surprisingly deep too.
Mm-hmm.
Like so did you play Mother 1 and 2?
I dabbled in Mother 1, but it is just so hard to get into because of how dated the game is.
Yeah.
But
I found the way around that is streaming. So like if you stream, then you have like this window where you have to play a game and you have to make progress, and if you have people watching you, then you're kind of like responsible for it. And so I'm having people vote on what I'm going to play next, and that one's so far winning, along with the other series. So
Yeah,
That's
Earthbound's my jam, though. The music,
for sure.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I'm really glad that in this group of people that are now like getting their SNES minis, I'm seeing a lot of people start to be like, I'm trying Earthbound now for the first time ever. And I'm like, hooray, because everybody like universally seems to love it. Like that are playing it now, you know?
And then my favorite thing is when someone's like, oh yeah, I played Earthbound finally. It's fantastic. I love the music. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about a little thing called Bound Together.
Oh yeah. That's Joe's contribution to the VGM world.
Yeah, that's my thing. My only thing, really.
Wait, what's Bound Together?
Bound Together is an Earthbound remix project from like 11 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, back when like VG Mix was still a thing.
What happened? Oh, so was this like a VG Mix did it, or was it like a OC remix kind of thing?
It was a Joe Cam thing. It really was. I had people from OCR, people from VG Mix, people from OLR. Like I had everyone from everywhere, and I almost had both Vert and DJ Pretzel on at the same time, which nowadays is nothing because, you know, everyone's cool, everyone's good. But back then they had a feud going from when Jake just quit OCR. And Jake was always kind of a maybe, we'll see if I could get something done. And DJ Pretzel was, yeah, I'll do a song. Here's the song. It's done. And then like a couple days before release, I just got a song from Vert. And when DJ Pretzel heard, he was not pleased and he had his song removed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been in talks with them to have it re-released on OCR officially all these years later. It feels like every year at MagFest I talk and it's like, yeah, man, we're going to do it this year. We're going to do it this year. We're going to do it this year. And it never happens. A lot of it is due to the fact that because I did this all myself, like I didn't have lossless files of all the songs, like everything in MP3 form, that's the best quality I have.
Right.
So it's hard for people to be like, oh, well, it's not any good unless you do it in lossless format. I'm like, motherfucker, the project's 11 years old. I'm amazed I can remember like how many songs were on it.
That's really cool.
So yeah, that was my one thing. And if it ever does get re-released with OCR, clearly David's song will be included since everything is good with everybody now.
Okay.
What about you? What kind of game projects have you been a part of? Have you headed up? Let's talk about you. You're the guest.
Yeah. Well, I actually tried several times. Well, funny story about OCR. Like the first remix I submitted got accepted. But here's the thing. I didn't really read the instructions. So when I did this remix, it was really just me playing the piano with a really shitty microphone hooked up to, like, it was really, really bad. So, but it was like a good arrangement of the track, but it was just not part of the rules. So even though it got accepted, I was like, listen, guys, I can't, do anything with this. I did a live recording. I'm sorry. Like, and so they just like put it to the trash can, and then everything else after that I submitted got rejected. So I was like, okay, maybe my luck is up here. So I ended up just doing my own thing for a long, long time. And then I actually ran into the Materia Collective. At the time I ran into them, they were doing the Final Fantasy VII remix album. And I just missed the deadline. But then they said, look, put your name in the hat, and we might have more coming up. And sure enough, a few months later, they did Final Fantasy VIII Remix, and then that's when I submitted my contribution, and I've been with them ever since. And so we had just finished an Undertale remix album, we finished a Sonic remix album, and the most recent was a Final Fantasy X remix. So I've been on all of that, and I love it to death. I've met a lot of cool people, and people are just really talented, by the way, and very friendly. And I know what you're talking about with like the musician sphere. Sometimes is that air of ego, and then like I'm better than you, and I don't like you. But I haven't seen that here, so I think I'm in a good place.
Yeah, it seems everyone from Materia Collective, though, I've had on the show to talk about their albums or their projects, they've been amazing people who just love what they're doing and love making music and sharing it with everyone. No one's in it for fame. No one's in it for money. They just do it because they love it.
That's 100% correct, right? And even though that there's money in it, it's not like an insane amount. Like it's maybe something that can like take care of a Netflix bill per month. But it's not, it's everyone just really is passionate, and so I feel that. So everyone wants to collaborate with you people, and I never ever had that. I don't know if you're trying to be a comedian or like if you're trying to be a musician or anything on YouTube and you try to collaborate with other people who are doing it, for some reason it's like the worst thing ever. Unless you have like 1 million subscribers, right? Then they'll definitely want to work with you. But other than that, it's like, no, I'm better than you and my stuff is better. Don't touch me. Don't put your shitty content over there and don't come. I'm like, okay, well, thanks. But Materia Collective is all love. I really do love it to death. And like, other than that, I am on a startup animation team with Jump Button Studio, and we make educational content, and I just really head up some of the sound design and just the music options for it, and just make fun stuff.
What kind of educational stuff?
Oh, wow. Well, we did like, why do you have crushes? We did like, we have a video coming up on Korea. We did like Hurricane Harvey. Completely random topics. Usually we take a lot of requests from people, and we just go from there. We really don't know what to talk about sometimes, so we just like, you know what, let's put out one video and like keep it very open to the public and see what they want next, and then we'll really go off of fan feedback.
That's why you're on this show, because I ran out of things to talk about myself, so now I just do interviews.
So I do.
Like, I got it. I'll have someone else talk for a while.
Exactly, man. It's so easy. Last week I had my friend Royal on chatting with the guys from MetaNet Software about the game N++, and he was asking so many questions, and I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, I get to not talk. This is fantastic. I just like kick back in my seat, relax a little bit. Just let him ask the questions. It's like, Chris, ask a question. You do something.
Oh, wait, are you telling me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to take a nap.
How many instruments do you play?
That's a good. I only play the piano. That's basically it. And in middle school, I played the clarinet. I feel like everyone played the clarinet at some point in their life. Don't lie to me. You played the clarinet too, didn't you, Chris?
No, I don't know how to blow into instruments.
I did a few months of saxophone because I liked Lisa Simpson, I guess.
Oh, that was my
There
show.
you go.
Hey.
But yeah, that never went anywhere. I have zero
TV
musical
Dumpster.
talent. Zero musical talent.
It's okay. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't even know if I have musical talent. I just like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, talent is, I think, interest plus time. There's a formula to it. There's not just, somebody that's insanely talented have probably just put more work into it than they're willing to admit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Or people are hearing something substandard and thinking it's great.
Right.
I don't know if interest plus time necessarily means talent, though, because I still suck at doing this show.
No.
Nah, you're talented.
No, I'm not.
You're so talented.
Well, for someone who's
stop.
completely here, and I'm like very, very new. Like, how many episodes have you been cooking up here?
This is episode 324.
What? 324?
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds
doing
like
this-
a
I've
veteran.
been doing this show for 42 years. No.
I've been doing this show since before I was born.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. It used to be weekly, but ever since like the show started picking up with interviews and game reviews, I've went to twice weekly just because of how much content we have. But there's probably a dozen good shows in there.
Oh wow. That's
Maybe.
amazing.
13 now.
Hell yeah, man.
13, baby.
Baker's
We
dozen.
did it. Baker's dozen.
We did it. Yeah. USA, USA.
We're gonna cut the giant ribbon with the giant pair of scissors.
All right, I'm gonna have to find me a picture, like a funny picture of someone cutting a ribbon, like a grand opening ceremony or something. I'll use that as the picture this week on the show for the YouTube video.
I feel like 13 good episodes of SML podcast.
Close.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you've been working on games. Are you developing or just audio stuff?
I don't code or program. I'm just all audio, but I'm working on like a couple of games at the moment. There's one team here in Brooklyn, Team Anireal, which is pretty cool because he found me on YouTube for one of my tutorial videos, and it turned out that he's basically down the block from me. Well, like an hour and a half of a train ride, but it's not that far away compared to other places. So we met up. We had a beer, and then he's like, hey, look, I'm making this, and I would really like your help. And it was super genuine. Like, I've never like clicked with someone so fast before. He was just very, very stand-up guy. And so now he's making his own project, and I'm leading audio on it. It's like a kind of a beat-em-up, Mega Man-inspired action thing. It's just very, very diverse. It's interesting. It's like a dynamic game. There's a lot of elements in that. I don't want to spoil it because it's still in development, but I'll probably like link you later on. And then I'm also working on Last Line of Retreat for the startup team. I'm also working on because we do animation, apps, and games. And Last Line of Retreat is a very retro game. It's like a fast free fall kind of thing. And you've got to get to the bottom before you get crushed by like this lava thing. So, I mean, it's all fun. I think I just want to write for as many things as I can. I think just creating life and bringing it to an environment is something I love to do. I'd never get bored of it. And it's just like kind of unnatural how much I look for it. And it got to a point where it was really bad because I was basically giving away free music at a point. A couple of years ago, there were these college students that messaged me and they didn't have any money and they wanted to make a game. And I was a college student once. I get it, right? You need the money for toiletries. You got to get your necessities. So I was like, look, if you really want music and you don't have enough to afford it, I'll tell you what, I'll write this music for you for $7 per minute. And no one knows this. Like, if other composers heard that, they would smack me into oblivion, like revive me and then kill me again. $7 per minute is like nothing. It's absolutely disgusting. Like, why would I do that? So I did it because like they were passionate and they definitely had this heart for creating. And like I couldn't say no at this point. They really wanted to do it. And so, like I just want to create. Like, I don't know what it is. It's calling. Like, this is why you're here 300 episodes later. This is a very unexplainable feeling. It's like it makes you feel alive, doesn't it?
It's what I do. It's what I enjoy doing. If I didn't have fun doing this, I wouldn't do it every week. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I think the fact that you're doing it weekly is excellent. I think I need to get into that kind of groove where I do it weekly, but I haven't. I don't know, because I'm also a grad school student, so it's hard, but I don't want to make excuses. I think weekly is excellent. If not weekly, at least bi-weekly. Because if you're not doing it, someone's doing it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're doing it twice a week. You're like a robot.
I'm stupid. I know.
Like a Terminator.
I want to hear more about that Mega Man style game you were talking about. Is that like something that's been announced?
Yes. It's on Twitter now. Team Anireal. It's called Fiction Sphere. And the way it started was we were first originally designing a fan-made Mega Man game. We were going to do a fan-made one, and we were making it very up to date, and we wanted to put our own story on it, keep the same characters, add a couple, and we were getting a lot of good feedback from fans. But the thing that happened was we were putting in so much effort and time into this thing. There were like a couple of things. We were scared that Capcom was eventually going to find out and smack us, right? Like, look, you got to shut this down. We don't want any derivatives of our work. That was like one of the biggest, like, and as like some fans were mentioning, like, they're like, hey, look, you guys can definitely make a really good game out of this, but like, you could also do your own thing. And we were putting in tons and tons of hours, and we just sat down together and we're just like, wait, guys, why are we putting in so much time for this when we could have done this? This is something that's someone else's IP. We can't really go anywhere with that after it's done. We may make, fans happy, and we want to do that too, but what do we have to show for it? And if Capcom doesn't want this to happen for whatever reason, we have nothing to show. Like, all that work is for nothing. So we said, you know what, look, we're going to start our own project. And sure enough, it started like right away. It's been in development for about 1.5 years, and it's really getting there. We technically don't have, well, the story is fully fleshed out. We have our characters. We don't have the stages yet, but the fundamental gameplay is getting cooked up from the ground up, and it's there. The pieces are getting put in place, and we're just like expanding on it and making it even more like immersive. There are tons and tons of GIFs and photos on Twitter. I'll probably link you after, if you're interested in it. But it's fun. If you're a Mega Man fan, I think you'd like it. But it doesn't play like Mega Man, but it's very Mega Man-esque. When you see it, you'll feel it. You'll be taken back to that kind of Super Nintendo period. And hopefully we invoke some nostalgia and get people playing it.
Nice. Is it like something you're looking to come out later this year, early next year, still a ways off?
We honestly don't have a time limit on it, but I think next year could be a potential like possibility, depending on what scale we want to push it for. Because as it is now, it's getting there. It really is. But I have a feeling that it may even get pushed back another year after that, just because the lead developer is solely doing it by himself. He does like want help, but he doesn't, because he just doesn't want to be the one to manage anybody else, and just to make sure that he's in control of what's happening and nothing goes crazy. So he feels like he should do it himself, and I think he's insane. But at the same time, if it makes him comfortable, then I kind of understand where he's coming from, and it's a very personal project to him. So he may get to a point when he's like, you know what, we can release this game next year, guys. Or vice versa, we may get to that point when it's about to release, and he's like, wait, we have to add this, we have to add that, we have to add that. And then it may get pushed even further. But, we want to just be comfortable with what we have. We don't want to push out anything that we don't like. And then, and it's cool, because, like, that's where I met my friend in Texas. He's one of the pixel artists. And then we have him. We have an artist in France, which is crazy. And then you got me in the Bronx, and then you've got this guy in Brooklyn, and it's awesome.
It's a global project.
It's totally a global project. Totally.
Well, you can take this as an official request to have an Xbox One version of the game.
Deal.
Probably won't get me anywhere, but I'm going to request it. Maybe it'll happen.
We tried to run a Kickstarter. We did the Kickstarter thing, and it didn't go too well, but it didn't go that bad either, because we are still an unknown team, more or less. But even the fact that we were unknown, we still got maybe like upwards of $8,000 to $9,000, which is pretty cool. Even though Kickstarter was like, well, you didn't make your goal, so we're going to take all of that away from you. But thanks for playing. I was like, all right, well, look, we're not going to quit, but it was a good way to gauge the community's reaction to it. And that was just all we really wanted. So now we're just going to push it like no other.
And it just seems like Kickstarters in general, or Indiegogo or Fig or wherever you're going, they just don't seem to be as popular as they once were. I think there were a couple of stinkers that came out, and everyone's like, wait a minute, like, I might have to wait years for this game, and it might suck. Maybe I shouldn't give them money. Like, what the fuck did you think this was?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever donated to a Kickstarter failed project, but there was this game called Mighty Number 9.
Joe wouldn't know anything about Mighty Number 9.
I did not back Mighty Number 9. I had a choice between, I was like, well, I can spare like a $200 donation. Is it going to be Mighty Number 9 or Shantae? I went with Shantae.
Excellent.
Oh, good job.
Goddamn right. Hey, I love Way Forward, so, and the fact that Vert does all the soundtracks makes it even better.
Yeah. I backed Toe Jam and Earl.
Nice.
Yeah. It's about around that amount. I got all the goodies, basically.
I backed some shitty little game called Pixel Noir. I don't know if you guys heard of that one.
Yeah, I do.
Fuck
Is it
those
shitty
guys.
or are you being sarcastic?
Fuck them. They're fucking terrible people.
Oh, what happened?
I know.
No, I'm very good friends with them.
I know Kunal.
One of the guys on the team, Tim Robinson, was actually one of the original co-hosts of this show. And when Kunal came on the show to talk about the game, this was like at their first Kickstarter. When that one failed, he came on to talk about it, and he ended up talking with Tim and got Tim on board to do like PR for it. I don't even know if Tim's working with them anymore, but I need to get Kunal back on the show. It's been too long since that son of a bitch has been on.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
I love Kunal. He's such a great guy. So I joke that he's an awesome guy.
I still haven't played the game, and actually I just realized that he offered to send me a code if I would play it on my stream. And now I'm like, oh yeah.
Dude,
he did that years ago before I even had a stream. So now I do, and I need to call in these favors.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
I'll play Pixel Noir. Yes.
Play the SNES Classic.
Oh yeah, it's true. I do that on weekends sometimes.
Oh man, well Cal, I know you've been on a while. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention about the Anireal project that we haven't talked about? Because I just realized we haven't like talked about anything.
This is a good. I like loose podcasts like this where there's just like no pressure and like we just kind of go with the flow. I don't know. It seems like more of a conversation. I mean, and I kind of like that. Anireal is just like
I don't know. The boss man just came to our desk and said that we have to have 5 topics by Wednesday.
Uh-oh.
Oh God, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Or else we got to turn in our badge and our gun.
I have 8 topics written down for tonight. Or no, 7.
Sweet.
7 topics.
Well, why aren't they on his desk? Why is it
Because fuck him.
Damn the man.
But if you want to hang around, if you're enjoying your time and you want to chat about the news of the week with us, you're welcome to stick around. It's up to you.
The news of the week?
Yeah.
What's this?
Just the weekly gaming news of the week. After interviews, we just talk about like the news stories from the week, and then we'll handle any kind of emails if we have any, which we don't this week. But and then we'll do some reviews, and that's the show.
Oh, you know what? I'll stick around.
Cool.
Hooray.
So let's talk video game news. I think the biggest news of the week was the news that Humble Bundle has been acquired by IGN, which seems like a massive conflict of interest. Many people are pissed. Many have been canceling their Humble monthly subscriptions and stopped buying games from the marketplace. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Ooh. Oh boy. So here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be a very, very powerful advocate for IGN, and then I just started realizing that if your game wasn't Call of Duty, you're not gonna get a 9 out of 10. So I think that I don't know, like, but what I'm gonna let it go to Chris. Chris, you've been you've been quiet.
I'm bad at talking about IGN because I never read that crap.
You're good. Good.
I just think it's a huge conflict of interest because now, like, if they have reviews of games that they're selling or that Humble is publishing that they now own, that seems like they're going to have some fucking biased reviews. And there's already concerns with how honest people are with game reviews in the industry. And I just think it's a massive conflict of interest, and I have zero interest in ever supporting Humble again.
Yeah, I never did in the first place. I always just acquired games from people who were like, "Oh, I have this extra one. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." I so far have an unbroken streak of never paying for anything on Steam. I have. Let's see how many games I have. I can't pull it up right now. I think it's about 12 games.
So many.
Haven't given a penny.
I don't know. Anyway.
So what is Humble Bundle exactly?
Basically, they'll offer bundles of games for massive discounts, and you get to choose, at least with their bundle program, you get to choose what percentage of the money you donate is given to the developers, which is given to charity. They have different charities for each one. And how much goes to Humble themselves for like site upkeep and employees and whatnot. They usually have bundles starting at $1, which will get you 3 or 4 games. Then they'll have like a higher tier of like maybe $10-15 that has even more games. And then one in the middle of a beat the average where, you know, it averages out how much people have donated over the previous day or week or whatever. And if you offer more than that, then you get the middle tier. So the people who pay for the biggest one get everything.
Okay, now I see.
Yeah. I know they had some pretty popular, they did, I think 1 or 2 Nintendo bundles. They did, I think 2 Sony bundles. They have book bundles. They've had, I think, like game programmer bundles, software. So they're always doing different bundles, but I don't know. I think they lost a lot of goodwill with this IGN thing. I don't know.
So how does this like benefit IGN, like from a business standpoint, do you think? If you're able to choose like kind of where your money goes, you know? Is it just something that's just going to mean like they're going to be pushing games that they want to push kind of deal?
I don't know.
More so than I'm not quite understanding where they're like lining their pockets.
They've got to see money in it somewhere. So I don't know.
It's true.
Maybe we'll find out as time goes on. But some other news this week, really sad news that Harmonix has laid off 14 people this week, including one of our favorites, Josh Harrison, who's been on this show 5 times.
Goodness, I remember hearing that once at least.
Yeah, this happens less than a month after the release of Dropmix, their their collectible card / board game with Hasbro. But Harmonix have confirmed that Rock Band and Dropmix both remain in full development, and that the Rock Band team has been prepping an announcement regarding an upcoming roadmap for the game. So it's still a bummer to see people losing jobs, especially someone as awesome as Josh, who's been a big supporter of this show for the 2 years he was with Harmonix. And the best to all 14 of those people. It sucks to see people lose jobs.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of a terrible thing about this. The whole game industry is like, you know, there's really very little job security.
Yeah. Speaking of little job security, EA is shutting down Visceral Games, the creators of the Dead Space series, Battlefield Hardline, the Godfather games, Dante's Inferno.
What?
They were also developing a Star Wars game, which has been shifted to EA Vancouver. So
BioWare.
It sucks to see. I loved Visceral. I loved Dante's Inferno. The Dead Space games were great.
They were.
It's a shame to see companies getting shut down, and it kind of came out of nowhere, especially because they were working on a fucking Star Wars game.
Oh my God.
Not all bad news though for EA fans. Last week on the show, we talked about some new games are going to be coming to the EA Access Vault. If you're an EA Access subscriber, Mass Effect Andromeda is in the vault now. So if you are interested in the Mass Effect series, grab EA Access for $5 for a month or $30 for a year and play all of it. I love EA Access.
All that access.
See, Chris, that's something you're missing not having an Xbox One is EA Access. There's like 40 some games are available in the vault right now that you pay $5 a month and you can play them as much as you want.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I've never done video game streaming before, actually. I mean, not streaming like Twitch. I mean, streaming like paying monthly for a service so you can play a game, you know?
Oh, well, you don't stream those games. It's not like PlayStation Now and their stupid bullshit where you can only stream a game. On EA Access, you actually download the game and you have it to play offline.
Okay, but only as long as you're subscribed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of where I was going with that. But, yeah, I never tried it before. I was always like, I'm from the school of
Hard Knocks.
Yes, and hard cards. So it's like if you bought the game, then it's yours forever, and even if it's terrible, it's like it's still gonna be a physical part of your being.
Yeah.
So, your Super Nintendo copy of Family Dog or something like that, it's yours.
Oh, God. Family Dog.
But then again, 90% of my video game playing was going to Blockbuster, so this is more or less that.
True.
Very true. $5 a week to download, or not download, to download NES games from the store.
Some other happy news this week. Doom has got a release date on the Switch. It's coming out November 10th. So people hoping for a bloody Christmas with Doom. Good news. Blow some fucking monsters up and demons and murder.
I would not have imagined that hitting Nintendo.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago they announced, hey, Doom's coming to the Switch. Also, it's happening this year.
Nice. Yeah, that's the good thing about Nintendo announcements is they're like, we're going to do this really awesome thing, like, in a month. Like, seriously, it's coming up. You better get on that.
Yeah.
Better than your Final Fantasies or whatever. But actually, if you think about it, they had Doom on the Super Nintendo, and they had an original Doom on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
So Doom and Nintendo actually is pretty sensible.
They're coming back home. It's cool to see Bethesda supporting the Switch though. First with Skyrim coming out.
Yes.
That's also in November, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the 17th for that.
Oh.
And then, Skyrim and now Doom and other games are on the way. So that's really cool to see.
I'm really looking forward to Skyrim because I've been an Elder Scrolls fan since Daggerfall, which I'm actually playing right now. I'm using a DOS emulator to play. That's the Elder Scrolls 2, the one that came out in 1996. And but after Morrowind, I was like, I can't play any more of these modern ones. I don't have an Xbox 360, which at the time was what Oblivion was on. And even though I eventually corrected that, I was like, if I start playing this, it's going to eat up like months of my time. So I better make sure I'm ready. And then Skyrim came out, and then it was an even bigger problem because I hadn't played Oblivion. So now it's that I have all these games, but since I haven't played Skyrim yet, having it on the Switch would be a perfect intro for me because it's portable. So that means I can actually play it, out and about or, just wherever I am.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying the fact that this game that even though it's been out forever, it's like on other systems, I've been waiting for it to come out on Nintendo without realizing it.
I'm probably going to buy it again myself just to have it on the go and to have Legend of Zelda shit in the game too.
Oh yeah, they're going to have something like that, right?
I think they have a Master Sword in the game. I think they have like Link's outfit. They're going to have
That's funny.
Cool. Bring it on, man. What about you, Cal? Are you excited for Skyrim?
I love Skyrim. So the thing is, like, these sandbox games, they just take up so much time. So what happens is I tend to become, a hermit. I think, let's go for it, like, all day, but just a matter of when and how much I can invest in these things. I've got to be really picky now, because, like, every time I start a game, I try to finish that game. So I could just, like, put it away and then go to the next one, just to catch up.
I miss being able to do that.
That's an evasive strategy for sure. That's a hard one to commit to.
Yeah, it's hard because I'm also like a semi-completionist, not really like a full-blown like 100%, but sometimes I do. But like I really just like getting things. I love the side quests. I love the non-storyline missions and stuff like that, just to get that extra piece of whatever. I love playing games that way. So when Skyrim frightens me because that map is ridiculous. The map is huge.
Oh man, you should see the map for Daggerfall.
Oh no.
It's so much larger than all of them. Except for Elder Scrolls Online, I think. I think Elder Scrolls Online has the biggest map, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. But game maps are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I think Daggerfall is something like 14,000 square miles, 16,000.
Jesus.
I think they advertised 16,000 and somebody actually measured it out and was like, well, it's 14,000, but still. Way too much. Roughly the size of Great Britain.
That's ridiculous.
Ay.
Yeah, I love it.
You gotta wonder
But
how much stuff is in the game that no one has ever found.
Well, that's the beauty of it, is that largely it's either randomly generated or procedurally generated. So, like, even the developers have probably not seen all of it. Like trees and stuff, like, you know, out wilderness things, like all of that is randomly generated in Daggerfall. But then, like, the buildings and the towns and, like, the dungeons and stuff, they're procedurally generated. So, like, some of them, there's a lot of obvious care that went into them, but some of them are just blatantly, like, confusing.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, a computer made this.
Oh, man. Anyway, a little bit more bad news to talk about because this has been a shitty week for everyone. Warner Brothers has officially pulled the plug on Lego Dimensions.
No!
Yep. They were supposed to be doing it for one more year. They had plans for a second Doctor Who pack, a Lego Minecraft expansion, and then a final storyline add-on that was going to just wrap up the whole Lego Dimensions storyline. All scrapped.
Aw, man.
So that's a bummer. And then the hits keep coming for microtransactions as Rolling Stone uncovered a patent filed by Activision that talks about how the company wants to design their matchmaking systems to lure players to purchase more microtransactions. It's designed to have low-skill players matched with higher-skill players to encourage the lower-skilled idiots like me to pay for better items, to play better.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the snag there is that I'm not only bad at games, I'm also super cheap. So,
To their credit, Activision came out and released a statement that said this was an exploratory patent filed in 2015 by an R&D team working independently from our game studios. It has not been implemented in any game. But the fact that they applied for and were awarded the patent, they got the patent.
wow.
That worries the fuck out of me because we're already having issues with loot boxes and microtransactions and nickel and diming people in full price games. And now for shit like that to show up, like, come the fuck on. When is it too much?
I don't know. Can't we all just play Family Dog on the Super Nintendo?
I think we're going to have to because I'm not going to pay microtransaction bullshit to get a better gun because the guy I was matched against played the game for 7 years straight. I guess it doesn't affect me too much because I avoid online multiplayer stuff. The only online stuff that I play is co-op 90% of the time. Occasionally I'll play some versus with other people, but it's always team-based because, like, one versus all deathmatch, fuck that. I'm dead first. I'm terrible.
I think the last game I willingly played on the internet was, I think Mario Kart DS.
Wow.
Which came out, if you didn't know, 63 years ago.
What?
I know. Stunning.
Oh my
That's how old we are now.
Why did that sound so factual? And then I said, wait a minute.
Wait, 63, that doesn't make any sense.
Now,
Can't be any older than 50.
I'm barely 50.
I sent shenanigans, Mr. Taylor.
Wow. You sensed correctly.
I don't know, but a lot of bad news. Let's end with some positivity. Rumors are swirling of a possible Ni No Kuni II Xbox One release. A listing was spotted on Amazon Spain for the game, and recent reports claim it'll be hitting Xbox as a digital-only title. There is zero confirmation on this. It is all rumor, but god damn it, it is nice to dream because I would love to see that game hit more platforms.
Yeah, totally. More platforms, the merrier.
Even if it's digital only, I don't give a shit. Bring us RPGs on Xbox. I will pay for a digital copy of the game. Just bring them.
Just please make it a slight discount. Come on.
I don't care. I'll pay $60 for the game. Whatever. I've paid more for shittier games.
I really, really wanted to buy Darius First Chronicle Savior on the PS4, but it's $60 to download. And I'm like, especially since Limited Run came out with a disc of it, and they might do another run someday. Who knows? And I could get a physical version. I don't know. I just want a physical version of it. Don't like the internet. The internet's only good for podcasts.
These damn bits and bytes. I want a disc I could hold in my hand and rub on my beard.
Yes. I will hang it from my beard. I will hang several of them.
I want to snuggle closely with my video games. But that's all the news I got this week. Is there any news that you guys want to discuss that I may have missed from the past week? I'll take that as a resounding yes.
We're just trying to select from all the stories that have come out.
Right, of course. Yes.
Did you guys hear about Humble and IGN? What do you think of that?
What do you think of that? Guys, did you hear that Family Dog on the Super Nintendo got canceled? What's next? Socks the Cat?
There was a Socks the Cat that got canceled, didn't it? And then it got like someone found a prototype of it.
Yeah, and they tried to kickstart a real print of it, and they wanted thousands and thousands of dollars, and it was like, no. Nah, it's
what are you gonna do?
I remembered it.
I guess that is the news for the week. We will jump into reviews in just a second. Before we do, I want to say this is the final week you have to enter the SMLoween Halloween giveaway. The prize list, the SMLoween prize list has gotten bigger and bigger. I think I counted today. We have 36 games in the prize package. All you got to do, here's the important part. You got to send an email to thesmlpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us the worst nightmare that you have ever had. And this has got to be something good. It can't be, there was a monster under my bed, or I was falling and then I woke up. It's got to be something that scars you. The example I keep giving, a couple weeks ago, I woke up crying out of a nightmare that I was forced to sedate my cats and then burn them alive.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's a fucked up nightmare. That's like shit I wish I could forget that ever happened to me. But instead, I'm going to have a contest celebrating it and giving away a shitload of games.
Hey, sometimes we all cope differently. So
very true. But
some of us go into therapy, and some of us hand out fabulous prizes.
Indeed, and there's some fabulous prizes. Let's go down the prize list one last time here. And unless I mention, all of these games are for Xbox One. We've got Resident Evil 7, Narcosis, Emily Wants to Play, Nevermind, Sheltered, The Escapists, Walking Dead, The Coma Recut, Don't Knock Twice, The Bunker, The Walking Dead Tables for Pinball FX3, Infinite Minigolf, Enigmatis 2, Eventide 2, Dark Arcana, Nightmares from the Deep 2, White Knight, Let Them Come, Observer, King Oddball, Crimson Land, Bulb Boy, Layers of Fear and Observer on Steam, Zombie Party, Knock Knock on Steam, Thimbleweed Park, Decay the Mare, Abyss the Wraiths of Eden, which just released today, Nightmare Boy, which isn't even out yet, Anima Gate of Memories, Vostok Inc., Ginger Beyond the Crystal, Castles, Heart and Slash, Demon's Crystals, and 8 Days. Holy
You're gonna have the
shit.
scariest Xbox ever.
I mean, granted, the last couple of games there aren't, horror-themed games, but Badland Games wanted to get in on this, and they're like, fuck it, we're giving you everything. So yeah, again, all you gotta do, email the smlpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us the worst nightmare that you have ever had. Next Thursday on the show, we will be reading off all the entries and picking a winner who gets all of that. Winner takes everything. And we have enough extra codes from all the donations that we got of various games that everybody's getting something.
Yeah.
You might already have it, and I don't give a shit if you do. Trade it with a friend, but everybody is going to get something, which I love to do. I love to do on this show if I can learn how to swallow.
And the struggle is real.
So Cal,
to drink mineral.
Cal, what's the worst nightmare you've ever had?
Like nightmare as in general?
Yeah, or did you want to try entering the contest? You have a week to enter.
I probably should now that I heard about it. But
there you go, man. Save it. Save it, and we'll hear about yours next week on the show.
Sounds good.
I better see an email now, so.
Now you're going to get an email.
You're on the spot. But Cal, it's been fantastic having you on. We're going to let you go because we have some game reviews to do, and those can get kind of boring for guests. So thank you so much for joining us and chatting about games, about music, about news, about everything. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome having you on.
Pleasure. Wait. Who are you again? Joe, just kidding. Chris, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a blast, actually.
Give us one more.
Been on a podcast.
Yeah, you've done it. You've made it. Give us one more sales pitch on your album. Tell us, where can we get it? Where can we keep in touch with you? What's the story?
I mean, honestly, everything could be found on my Bandcamp, which is like as you can find it at Schematist, which is SCHEMATIST, and then you can basically use that and go everywhere else. I'm on Twitter at Schematist. I'm on SoundCloud at Schematist, Facebook at Schematist, Instagram at Schematist. That's just like my tag. So Grindr at Schematist. Only. Okay, Cupid, Tinder,
MySpace, LiveJournal.
What's your Friendster?
No.
Are you on Bolt.com? While we still have it, how about your AOL screen name?
God. Wow, that's right. Poor AOL. It had a good run.
What was everyone's AIM screen name? Your main one? Because we all know we had more than one.
You guys go first.
I don't know. It was weird. I had a really weird obsession with Christmas, so I was Santa 351.
Ooh, them numbers.
What's the 351 for? Any meaning?
No, not at all.
Damn it!
It was easy to just put in there. I don't know. I was like, 351. They're like,
what? I had an SSJ on there as well.
It was a simpler time.
XXX with like lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, SSJ, Santa 351.
You're getting into Zynga territory now.
What about you, Chris? You brought it up. What were your AIM names?
Well, I registered them like all the time to like do different jokes. Sometimes in the middle of conversations and such. So I can't remember all of them, but the one that I stuck with the longest was Live Liver Donor.
Live Liver Donor.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And a friend of mine who's actually he's one of the admins in Hidden Sound Test. He used to call me Liver Giver.
Oh my god!
And I was like that one a lot. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I had two of them. The first one was kind of like a throwaway because I was just, I had friends who were on AIM, and I was like, oh fuck you, ICQ is the best. But there were friends who would only use AIM, and I tried making like JoeCam or just Cam, or in the early days you could just have a 3-letter username, and I couldn't figure out anything, so I went with one of my go-to curses that I would use in Phantasy Star Online. You could say the word assnad and it wouldn't get censored, so I went with assnad and then AIM sucks.
Assnad AIM sucks.
I actually have the badge from MagFest 1 has my name as Assnad AIM sucks. And then after a while, I just switched it to JoeCamNet like I am everywhere.
Yeah, I adopted the character name Liar Exaggerate from Earthbound, and I've been using that mostly ever since. Except now it's disappearing in things, so like it's not available. I guess there's a second Liar Exaggerate out there, or a liar. And so now I use Enrich Flavor, which is an even more obscure Earthbound character. So That's kind of my plug, I guess, since my stream is called Liar Exaggerate, and all of my social media that's available to the public is called Enrich Flavor.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Way to be uniform.
Yeah. Well, I have a very limited imagination. After, registering hundreds of AIM screen names, I couldn't think of any more.
It's all right, man. We understand.
It doesn't get much better than Live Liver Donor.
I don't know. Santa 351 is pretty solid.
That's pretty solid, yeah. I mean, that's solid AIM.
Oh, man. Well, I guess the last question for you, Cal, is at the end of the show, we always play songs. Do you have any preferences of the songs that we play? Do you have any picks that you want us to feature?
Recovery. That's probably one of my personal favorites.
Cool. So we'll make sure to play that one. Anything else, or are you just like host choice?
Oh, wait. I can do more than one?
You could do as many as you want, really. I've already played
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
If you want me to, it wouldn't be the first time.
No way. I'll pick 3. So, Recovery, Ghost Helix, and Sentinel.
Sounds good.
All right.
So those will be the songs. We are going to let you go. Thank you again for joining us and killing time with us. Do you have any final words?
Honestly, it was really fun, and I hope that everyone can see the importance of mental health, because mental health is not a joke. And even though we're game developers, we can still get depressed. It happens a lot. So that's basically what the overall theme of the album was about. And yeah, thank you guys.
I should have asked that question an hour and a half ago.
Oh my god.
Edit it to the very beginning.
You guys are the worst. It's such a good combination.
He's been on one podcast and we're still the worst.
Fuck yeah. By default, I earned this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's only
man.
going to become true it's going to become more and more true as he does more and more podcasts.
He's gonna look back in 15 years like those motherfuckers at SML. Still the worst. I've been stabbed during a podcast and SML was still the worst. How?
Yeah, don't ever go on the Joe Rogan podcast. God.
Oh my goodness. Too fun.
His just seems like the kind of podcast where you might get stabbed.
Oh my god.
Not saying anything bad about him.
No. Oh,
my instinct.
Oh man. On that note, Cal, we're gonna let you go. Have yourself a good night, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys. That was fun.
Take care.
Woo.
Oh man, that was fun. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I laughed a lot tonight. I haven't laughed this hard in a show in quite a while. It was just insanity. I love when shows just go off the rails. Those are my favorite kind.
Totally. Those are like my only kind. I don't think I've ever kept the show on the rails.
Which is a good thing. It's good to get crazy every now and then.
It depends on who you ask, I suppose.
True.
But,
Anyway, we got games to talk about, and we are going to kick things off with the game Wolverblade, developed by Fully Illustrated and Darkwind Media, published by Darkwind Media, released October 12th on Nintendo Switch for $19.99. Eventually going to be making it to Xbox, Steam, and PS4 as well. Help Britannia defeat the Romans in Wolverblade, a hardcore side-scrolling beat-em-up inspired by the old arcade classics. Experience a historically inspired storyline across 8 campaign levels, or test your skills in the game's deadly arenas. Go it alone or team up with a friend in local 2-player co-op. It's time to show the 9th Legion what you are made of. Holy shit, I love this game. I briefly mentioned it last week. I was hoping to review it last week, but I needed more time with it because the game is kicked my ass quite a bit, which I'll admit it. I suck at games. We all know that. It plays like your standard side-scrolling beat-em-up. Think Final Fight, think Streets of Rage, stuff like that. You play as one of 3 different characters. One focuses on power, one focuses on speed, and then one is like the overall, average at everything kind of character. I started with the average character. I'm like, well, let me just try this with the the one who's good at everything. And I was struggling. Like, the game was just kicking my ass. Some of the, as you go through the stages, you'll, wave of enemies, take them out, wave of enemies, progress on. End of the stage, you have a boss battle, a checkpoint halfway through, and then move on to the next level if you win. The thing holding you back is that you have 3 lives, and it's not 3 extra lives. You have 3 total lives. So when you die that 3rd time, it's game over. You don't have that. You don't have that 1 extra sitting around. Enemies or barrels will occasionally drop food. It felt very hit and miss on like when they would show up. There was earlier today I was fighting and like 3 enemies in a row dropped pears when I was at full health. But I could go through half a stage with my, just a sliver of life and nothing will drop. So I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to if the game will drop food more when you don't need it, just to be like, haha, fuck you.
Man.
But, it was still enjoyable. Like, I didn't mind getting my ass kicked. It just meant that I had to learn to play better. I had to be more defensive. After struggling for a bit, I eventually switched to the more power-focused character, and I started wrecking motherfuckers. Like, bosses would still take care of me pretty well, but, like, normal characters in the levels, I felt like I was just so much better than I was earlier. I wish I remembered the characters' names, but I'm bad at names.
Oh, yeah, I know, me too.
Visually, the game is stunning. Hand-drawn animation. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful game. And as beautiful as it is equally as violent. You'll kill enemies, heads will pop off. You could pick up the heads and use them as projectile weapons.
It's like River City Ransom or something.
Same with arms. So, if there's not enough knives on the ground to throw, pick up an arm and a head and kill a motherfucker with a motherfucker. It is just a beautiful, stylish game. The voice acting is fantastic. The thing that I love most about this game is how much like heart and soul went into it. In not just, you could tell the passion in the game, but in all the extras as well. They have a massive, massive list of like, local literature or like images in the UK of different landmarks that are either featured in the game or were referenced in the game. They have like flyover drone shots of these stone circles, and like there's just so much extra content in the game that you could just kill hours watching videos or reading about these historical items or these historical figures, weapons, locations. There's just so much extra to do in the game that if the 8 game stages aren't enough for you, which, 8 stages isn't much, but the stages will take you a solid 20 minutes each. So if you don't die repeatedly along the way.
Plus, I imagine you'll be replaying them a lot since the 3 lives and everything.
Probably. I've had to go through a couple of stages a number of times, but some of them, like I said, when I switched to that other character, things just seem to go a lot quicker.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of gripes. The difficulty might be one of the only gripes I have. It would be nice to, if nothing else, add 1 more checkpoint when you hit the boss. Because it sucks to get halfway through a level, hit that checkpoint, get the other half of the way through and get to a boss with like half a health bar left and no extra lives. So if they don't want to tone down the difficulty, throw in 1 more checkpoint, please, just 1 more. They have assassins in the game, which those guys are assholes because they'll throw knives at you and they each do a nice chunk of health damage to you. And then occasionally they'll throw 2 knives, like 1-1, like, and they will both guarantee hit you. Which, it's like a third of your health gone with that 1 attack, which sucks. Hidden items to find in the levels. I guess my only wish would be to see some kind of level progression to the game. It's more of like a standard Final Fight style beat 'em up instead of like Scott Pilgrim, where you can gain levels and improve your stats. There's no level progression. There's no stat management. It's just go through, beat everybody up, beat the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then they also have an arena mode where it's just fight waves of enemies. See how good of a score you could get. Try to beat your score. Move on.
Nice.
Final verdict on this at $20. This is an absolute must own. I fucking love this game so much. Whenever it makes it to Xbox, I will absolutely pick it up again and get my ass kicked again. And I recommend anybody, no matter what system you own or have access to this game on, just pick it up and play it because it is fantastic. I love it.
Anyone with an ass.
Yes. Chris, you should get this game.
Every possessor of an ass shall pick up this game and get it kicked. What system did you say? Steam?
Switch.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Wolverblade.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. I was just looking at it in the shop.
Yeah. Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Totally.
So
I will have
good.
to check it out.
So good. So good. Next game to talk about is called Cyber Dimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online, developed by Idea Factory, Compile Heart, and Tamsoft, published by Idea Factory, released October 10th on PS4 and Steam for $49.99. Long ago, when the world was nothing but a void, the goddesses created the world tree. The mighty earth and the majestic oceans were born on the foundation of its sprouts, and the goddesses bestowed upon the world the name of Owlsgard. At least that's what the 4 Goddesses Online MMO is all about. Now the real game industry goddesses must log in and hack and slash through this game within a game to get to the final boss. What could possibly go wrong? Our friend Greg Middleton wrote in a review of this one, and Chris, you're going to read this one for us.
Yes. First off, though, calling out whoever wrote that Bubsy reference. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, it doesn't have to be a Bubsy reference. No one gives a fuck about Bubsy anymore.
But still, the trauma. When I hear that, it's the trauma. I'm reminded
Anyway.
of what once was. Okay. I will read Greg Middleton's review.
Do it up. All you.
Excuse me, had to clear my throat a little bit. I picked up a mineral water from the fridge, but it's frozen. Alright. Cyber Dimension Neptunia 4 Goddesses Online, developer Idea Factory International. At the beginning of the game, you're introduced to Neptune, Noir, Blanc, and Vert. They receive an invitation for the test phase of this new game, an action RPG simulating an MMORPG. A game within a game. You all right, Joe?
I never heard someone say Mamorpaga.
Oh, I've heard it a couple of times. I like to pronounce things badly.
Oh god.
A gom within a gom. The plot of this revolves around an evil demon king that was sealed away by the power of a magic tree of life. The heroines are tasked with finding sacred treasures left behind by the goddesses to revive the divines and stop the return of the demon king. The opening intro movie gives you a good introduction to the characters and their fighting types. Within a few missions, I had picked my preferred character to play as, but you can swap characters between missions if you want to experiment or try out different styles. To compare this gameplay to other titles, it's very similar to Dragon Quest Heroes and Sword Art Online. You use a simple attack or special abilities, of which you put 8 different per character? No, wait. Sorry, I skipped a line. Apologies to Greg Middleton. That was a bad reading. Use a simple attack or special abilities, of which... Yeah, you put 8 different per character.
Maybe
okay, that is actually written out. I think so, yes, I think. By the standard attacks, you build your SP, which you need for the special abilities, and a bar, which stands for the state awakening, in quotes. The level for this state increases with time and lets you stay longer in this mode. Once activated, the power of the character is intensified. The access to the awakening skill is released later in-game after you have progressed about halfway through the campaign. Normal enemies are varied in their attacks, and guarding at the right time can be a great help when being swamped by them in the world. What's extremely helpful is once you have targeted an enemy, a box appears in the corner of the screen showing you what their health, break, parentheses, I'll get to this in a minute, and best of all their weaknesses. This could be fire, wind, lightning, or ice. Once I knew the weakness, I empowered my weapon using one of the special abilities, and that enemy becomes easier to tackle. There's also a state of break with every enemy. If you reduce their defense to 0, your opponent will be incapacitated for a short time and will suffer greater damage. This feature is an advantage for you when you combine this with the Awakening skill, especially in the fight against bosses. When it comes to the boss battles, there are many. They are big, powerful, and can take a long time to put down. Mash that attack button, damn you! There's several ellipses and then an exclamation point, so I think I'm supposed to pause and then feign surprise. Let me try that. Mash that attack button, damn you! Gasp! That's how I'm reading it.
Oh my god.
In the main hub city, which is presented in a 2D format, you can purchase items and upgrades, save your progress at the church, buy new clothes, and fun objects to change your appearance. But you will need to visit the guild to accept missions. It is mandatory to provide you with tasks that will get you to kill certain monsters or deliver items. All orders can be repeated as many times as you want. As rewards, there is money and special objects. The quests are divided into different levels, and only when you have reached a higher rank will you get an insight into the next level of the quests. When you've accepted a mission and you leave the hub city, you get presented with a map screen of the world. As you level up your guild rank, you will unlock new areas with tougher enemies and better loot. These areas are varied, lush countryside, volcanic craters, and more. This brings me to the graphics, and my god, it's an extremely colorful game. It's like someone came into my house, turned on my TV, and changed the settings to ultra insane, vibrant eye bleed mode. You know, I have a TV that does that. I loved it. This is running on the Unreal 4 engine, and with that, the dungeons and background effects will surprise you. I won't spoil too much, but there is a moment where you have to fight hackers within the game's engine, and it's plastered with Unreal Engine's logos, which was a nice touch. The dialogue in the game is as cheesy and raunchy as you can get, from jokes about a certain girl's chest size to what different types of underwear the girls are wearing. Most of the time, it had me chuckling and not cringing. Before you ask, yes, I did take a few screenshots of inappropriate moments and post them on the What's New page on PS4 so my friends could see how much of a weird individual I am.
Nice.
All right, moving on. Now you're wondering, so, Greg, about the online part. Well, let me explain. The online mode is basically a bulletin board in the main city hub where you create or join a group of players and set out to undertake missions separate from the main game, which offer rare rewards. Good stuff to dive into. This is the first Neptunia game I've played. I know, I call myself a gamer. I really enjoyed it, and am still enjoying it now. Great graphics, fine story, funny dialogue, decent online portion, and the best of all, it's so easy to sit down and play from a gameplay perspective. You could say the game is a tad too easy and repetitive, and for a JRPG hack and slash, a bit short as well. Now, I did have one game crash during my playthrough. I was in a dungeon hacking my way through the scum, and the frame rate just dropped off the world in a matter of seconds to an unplayable state. Then the dreaded blue screen appeared, but this didn't happen again, so I'm not overly bothered about that. There's something about this game that makes it so addictive, and yet I've been hooked since I started it for review. There's no yet there, I accidentally added that. There's something about this game that makes it so addictive, and I've been hooked since I started it for review. My poor Destiny 2, you have been shelved.
Nice.
I give it a buy it. I loved Dragon Quest Heroes, and this really reminds me of that in some ways. I do generally prefer turn-based RPGs, which I think many of the other Neptunia games are, and will probably check them out. But this game has character, and that's special something. I do recommend you give it a look. P.S. There is some cat costumes you can dress your girls up for free on the store. Good times. Reviewed by Greg Middleton.
Nice. I love the Neptunia games. I have a handful of them from over the years, and I need to play them more. I wish they would bring them to more than just PlayStation.
Oh yeah. I've never even seen one. This is a new thing for me.
Like, shit, bring it to the Switch. If you're not going to support Xbox, which no one does anymore, I'm getting used to it. Bring it to the Switch. I will play it on the Switch, but I don't know. I'm boycotting PS4. I'm fucking tired of them. Sick of their shit.
I'll get an Xbox One at some point. I just don't know. It's a money thing, really.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next game to talk about is called The Inner World: The Last Windmonk, developed by Studio Fizbin, published by Head Up Games and Calypso Media Digital. This one will release October 20th on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. I believe it's going to be $39.99. I know the retail physical version is $39.99 and includes the first game as well. I've been told the digital is possibly the same price, but I don't have 100% confirmation. So let's just make believe it's going to be 40 and we'll go with there. The Flute Nose Dynasty has been watching over Asposia for centuries on end. In secret, they fill the roly-poly world with light and life. Emil, a traitor for odds and ends, has led all the Asposians astray, making them believe that the dynasty is in cahoots with dark forces. Our friend Dark Mika wrote this one to go with the dark forces, and I'm going to read this. The Inner World: The Last Windmonk is a point-and-click game and the second Inner World game. In the previous game, you played as Robert through a majority of it and Laura for a small chunk of it. In this game, you play as many characters, sometimes even at the same time instead of just one at a time in the previous game. The story focuses on what happened immediately after the first game, as in continuing to happen 3 years after the fact when you get to start controlling the characters. The big bad in the first game was replaced by a zealot that believed in him. The zealot is only that, one of the average people of the world who don't know what was really happening, therefore only believed in Conroy's propaganda. They added some characters and allowed you to switch between them, which was amazing. I love that little addition. It adds so much to the game, even though it's something so small and simple. Each character can do different things and behave completely different from each other. The voices, music, and humor are all just as good as they were in the first game. The main lead, Robert, is just as well, for a lack of better word, Robert-y, as he was in the first game. One caveat now. I always struggle with caveat. I don't know why.
Caveat.
Yeah, one caveat now. Instead of having Conroy being a dick in real life, Robert's now imagining him talking to Robert, which is hilarious. I think. Robert's now imagining. I think Conroy became an even bigger douche in this game now that he's dead. It's great. Every time Conroy talked, it promoted laughter, hard laughter. Laura is back with significantly more bite than previously, which I thought was amazing. The new big bad isn't as mean or as rude as Conroy, but he was just as anal about everything, being just the way Conroy wanted it in the first game. For a zealot, he doesn't seem like he's actually a bad guy. He has some character faults, but he's not outright evil like Conroy. He's just wrong about the facts. He's trying to do the right thing via very bad methods because of bad information. The way this game shows him in power reminds me of, there's no sugarcoating it, but it feels very Nazi-ish. Everyone is wearing patches denoting themselves as anti-flute noses, and the feeling of the place and even the big bad himself kind of looks like what I would think a Hitler version of their species would look like. Under this new big bad, the general populace who hated Conroy have become convinced that all of the problems were caused by the flute noses, and he announced he's going to imprison and kill them all. It's very Nazi-like, which was jarring. I didn't expect something like that in a little point-and-click game like this, which doesn't make sense because the first game talked about genocide and corruption of monarchies. These games deal with some heavy shit in a really light-hearted, comedic way. My biggest drawback for the game, and both of them for that matter, are the menus are kind of crappy. It's hard to tell what you clicked on if you have multiple saves. Each game lets you have 3 saves. Everything is gray, and what you're highlighting is slightly brighter gray. Maybe it's easier to see if you have normal eyesight, but it was really hard for me to tell personally, which drove me nuts. The menu for settings wasn't quite as bad because the words next to what you're on turn orange, and would have liked that feature in the load menu. While playing, if you pause, which goes to the menus, instead of exiting the menu by hitting B, you have to go to continue. It's just a quality of life thing that bugs me. I hate when I can't hit B. Lastly, I felt the puzzles in the game were often more confusing and convoluted than in the previous game. Beyond that, the game is great, just like the first. It does have a nice opening that gives you a general idea of what happened in the first game, but it's not in-depth enough, so I suggest getting the first game as well if you get this. The physical edition will be sold for $40 and includes the first game, which costs $15. Both games are about 6 to 10 hours long, depends on how much you suck at figuring out the puzzles. If you get just this one for the second, I'm not sure it's quite worth the full $40. That's a lot of money. This game doesn't have any action or story twists. It's funny, but I'm not sure if it's $40 funny or wait for a sale kind of funny. If you're getting both games for $40, then yes, I think it is definitely worth that. So thank you, Dark Mika, for that one. And Chris, we're jumping back to you for one more review. Neon Chrome, developed and published by 10 Tons. It released October 12th on the Switch for $14.99. Masterful combination of top-down shooter and endless replayability with procedural levels. Blast your way through walls and enemies with guns and cybernetic abilities. Install perks from cyber chambers and upgrade your character stats after each death. Can you stop the Overseer? Chris, did you stop the Overseer?
I certainly did not. He's sitting all high and mighty at the end of level 32.
You loser.
Yeah, I know. So, there's no review. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, yes. What was the game called again?
Tell us about Neon Chrome.
Neon Chrome, thank you. I need to write these down or something. I can't remember titles. I swear, I played it for hours. Okay, so in Neon Chrome, what we've got for a setting is basically this kind of dystopian cyberpunk sort of future thing where the entire world's being, led by a corporation who keeps obsessing about, everybody trusting him. You gotta trust me and all this other stuff. So obviously it's a corrupt thing. And so, due to the nature of these things, you, basically, it's kind of confusing because you choose a character, but you have to, get into a chair and, strap in as far as that goes. So I wasn't exactly sure what was being conveyed here. I guess maybe it's a program and that's how you hack is by shooting things. I don't know. But either way, we had a few characters to pick through, or 3 characters actually specifically. And mostly it's the differences between them are going to be bonuses, what kind of gun they start with, because you can actually change your gun once you get in. And then, once you start the actual game, it pretty much plays like a roguelike with guns, which is actually kind of interesting. I don't think I've really played one of those. So you wander around. A lot of the enemies are very powerful, so you actually can't just run and gun at them. And of course, it being a twin stick shooter, you have to be really good at moving and aiming at the same time. But at least one of the characters, I think. Yeah. One of the characters starts with a shotgun, so that was the one I went with because I was the more area, the better. And also each character gets a melee attack, which is really nice. But man, once you start into this game, there's enemies that can, launch themselves at you and explode and do a ton of damage. There's dudes that run at you and shoot at you. They're kind of dumb in the early part of the game, so you kind of just wait around a corner and let them run at you and kind of pick them off. And the one behind the one guy that just got shot won't ever notice that the guy got shot. They're well, that's funny. Well, what if I run out of this room? Surely the same thing won't happen to me. And there's lots of things in the stages that can explode if you hit them. So you can hit a generator and it'll form a circle, and then a second circle will start widening within the perimeter of that circle, and you have until the 2 lines connect to get out of there. It's usually about 5 seconds. And you can use that to set like these elaborate traps for like big groups of enemies that might chase you down. And depending on how the level is generated, that's something that you might consider actually doing, because health is pretty precious in the game. You die within like just a few shots, but of course, as the description said, you retain all of the money that you have gathered and any permanent upgrades that you've gathered. So that when you start your next life, you start over in stage 1 and all the levels are mixed up again. That is to say, you never play the same stage 1 twice, you know? Yeah. There's rough similarities, in the stages, but really it's procedural generated. So, that's kind of interesting in that sense, that it's not only a roguelike, but you actually do get to like retain some semblance of progress as you keep dying and, you know, redoing the first level, first 2 levels, first 3 levels. I think I was redoing like about 4 levels before I, you know, came to review. So, and you know, that's the thing, is that it's one of those, where you just start to get a sense that, okay, well, level 1's going to have like probably these explodey guys and this many run and gun guys and probably like all this kind of treasure and stuff. And then, you know, you get into it and it is so. Now, another thing, speaking of the procedural levels and the way they're laid out and everything and strategies for dealing with enemies, a thing I really liked is that with your melee attack, well, also with your gun, it appears that the guns are infinite ammo. It's just that you only have so much in the magazine, so then you have to reload, and reloading takes a while. So, and there are upgrades to that as well, where you can like shoot 21 shots at a time, and then you can upgrade it to like 30 before you have to reload. But also with your melee attack, which is actually can be pretty powerful. I was with one character actually kind of leaning more on my melee attack than on my gun. And you can actually break through almost anything in the level. So you can actually make a hole in the wall, you could bust down some chairs, things like that, kind of create a little tunnel situation and, you know, kind of guide enemies out that way and take them out. All kinds of like interesting stuff that you can do with the stages, you know, even as they're more or less being randomly built around you. So I was really kind of digging like getting into looking at upgrades and like I said, coming up with strategies, because some of these group enemies, like if you just run in and start firing, like you're gonna die because there's just too many. So it really does push you to come up with strategies and to really like think with a game that is going to be different every time you play it. So I quite enjoyed it for that reason. Like I'm not that good at twin stick shooters, but I was starting to really get the hang of it there after a while, like a couple of hours maybe. But ultimately I will say it's a very difficult game. So, you know, if you want to get up there to that 30-second level and beat the boss,
that's the joys of roguelikes, man. You got to just keep going through and getting stronger and getting further and go and go and go.
And here's actually another incentive that the game throws at you that I quite like is in your starting room, before you choose your character, there are certain areas that are kind of blocked off. And I noticed one of them is after you beat stage, I want to say it was either 3 or 5. It was one of the stages I hadn't gotten to yet, but it was, or at least I didn't try this after I got to it, but it was basically if you get so far, you can unlock this room, and it seemed like it had a lot more items that you could purchase for your character starting out. And then there's actually one other room that has more content that says if you beat the boss, you know, the big boss, then you can come in here. So clearly the game has replay value even beyond the 32 levels. So that's really exciting.
Indeed. So I got to know, $15. What is your verdict?
$15. I mean, if you're looking for a cool roguelike experience, a really hard shooter, something to while away the hours that's not just, you know, hitting things with swords, then yeah, this game hits all those marks. You know, don't go in expecting much in the way of story. It's got almost no story. The story is largely conveyed through looking at monitors while the big bad guy kind of taunts you about how you're a security threat and all this stuff. Like, you get little pieces of the story here and there, but there's not a whole lot of it. soundtrack's really good. It's a nice, it's exactly what you'd expect from a futuristic kind of cyberpunk thing. Lots of synths and ambience and things like that. Just all this good stuff. It's probably more of a portable game than one you're going to want to play on the big screen. But apart from that, I mean, $15 is a good price for it. So I say go ahead and buy it.
Sounds good. And if you want more twin stick goodness from 10 tons, but you don't want as much roguelike stuff, they also have the game Judge available, which we'll be talking about later on in the show with our friend Tim Ekibus. So. But, Chris, that is it for you. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to bring in some other people. I clearly recorded this shit separately. I'm terrible at these segues. So, Chris,
that's the best segue.
Any final words to wrap things up on your end?
What were we talking about earlier? No. I was going to quote something. Everybody go buy Family Dog on the Super Nintendo. You'll wish you hadn't.
All right, moving on. Next game to talk about is called Square Boy vs. Bullies Arena Edition, developed by Rohan Narang, published by Radalaika Games. It released October 10th on the PS Vita, October 12th on the Nintendo Switch for $4.99. For far too long, the bullies have gone unpunished, and with no one else to put them in their place, Square Boy finds himself standing up against them to do what is right, not just for himself, but for everyone the bullies victimized. Someone needs to teach these bullies a lesson in pain. Why not let it be you? Brought our good friend Henry Jones back to cover this one. Henry, how are you doing?
Well, I got a sore throat just before recording a podcast, but I'm all right otherwise.
That is awesome timing.
Yes.
So what is Square Boy versus Bullies?
It is a straightforward, old-school beat-em-up. No leveling up, no super special frills, just you walk from left to right or sometimes right to left and you beat the crap out of bullies and then you go to the next level.
Sounds easy enough.
Yeah. Despite its simplicity, I look forward to games like these because it feels like in these beat-em-ups these days they have to add the level system because otherwise you'll beat it in 2 hours and you're like, well, that game sucked because it's too short. When that's not the case. I mean, as much as I like games like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the level setup where you have to level up and you have to repeat levels over and over again before you can move on gets a little tedious after a while. So just having a game where it doesn't matter what level you are, if you're good enough, to move forward, you can beat it is a lot better of an idea to me because I played the final fights in the Streets of Rage 2s of the world for hours and hours and hours, and if you have a good enough game, you can do it. I don't think this one gets there. The controls are solid. You have a solid move list where you have one attack button, and it does a lot considering how you press buttons. Like you can grab enemies, you can press up and down, you can press jump and do a spin kick or a spin punch, and you can do dash attacks. It's pretty versatile for only having one button to attack, and what I like about this one is it has a different button to pick up weapons and healing items, because I can't tell you how many times in a brawler game like this you pick up you're fighting somebody right next to a weapon and you just pick up the weapon instead, and it's just like, no, don't do that.
So it pretty much plays like the classic beat-em-ups of our youth.
Yes, more or less. It's just a few little tune-ups. It's what this mostly concerns itself with is getting swarmed by enemies and getting them off. And you can use the special move without using too much life because you only get one life per stage, which sounds a little mean, but it's just enough to get you through each level. And each level's saved, so you don't have to worry about going through the entire game.
That's good. Better than Double Dragon 3 giving you one life forever.
Oh, I remember those days. I'm glad I only rented Double Dragon 3.
Oh,
I mean,
me too.
it's a solid game, but it is so stingy.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it solid. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. Well, it would be a lot solid if it helped you out a little bit. And speaking of Double Dragon, also Double Dragon 5 kind of does this, although this doesn't have the screen tearing and other issues that I think they're trying to imitate old school video games, but old school video games do not have this problem. I mean, I actually like Double Dragon 4. It was what I wanted, even though it wasn't the best of what I wanted, but the game definitely isn't as good as it could have been, and when River City Ransom Underground came out, it just pretty much overshadowed that game entirely.
Yeah. So how does Square Boy stack up against Double Dragon 4, since that just released on the Switch recently?
It's alright. The problem is, with the brawlers, you want to make it an experience in some ways, and you want to build on the experience. And Square Boy versus Bullies doesn't really change the experience very much. You basically do the same thing at the beginning of the game that you're doing at the end of the game. I mean, you're beating up square-shaped bullies, and the only difference is some of them wear hats and some of them throw different projectiles. Like, if they wear a baseball hat, they throw baseballs. If they wear the hat that makes them look like Dodson from Jurassic Park, they have guns. Like, what are you, a secret agent?
Well, I'm guessing that it was enjoyable, considering I saw you showing off that sweet platinum trophy you got.
Well, the thing about the platinum trophy is you can get that in 2 hours. What you basically have to do is get through the game, essentially beat 300 bullies, which is how many bullies there are throughout the length of the game, and do all the special moves, hit all the people with weapons. And the only one special move that you have to really worry about is you have to specifically hit a ninja with a crate. So you can just play through this game once and you can do everything you need to do. The only difference is this one has arena mode, I should say, where you just fight in one area and it goes on for as long as you live, and you can rack up the score. The problem with that is there's not really a scoreboard where you can compare against other people. And the game itself has that problem too, where you get style points for doing things differently, like not just mashing the punch button all day, which is an easy way to go about it. But that score doesn't, get compared to anything else, so you just have your own high score, which doesn't get saved, really.
So something like global leaderboards would have been cool for this, huh?
Yeah, but I understand it's one guy doing one thing.
Yeah, one dude, and it's a $5 game.
Yeah, it's one dude and it's a $5 game. I'm not going to be too harsh on that for not having something like a global leaderboard. It's the graphics are fine. They don't get beyond fine. It's just there's not a whole lot of flavor to the game, where the best character it gets is the bullies. They don't speak good and they don't write good. You see graffiti in the background where they spell bully and they misspelled it, or they misspell other words. And when they talk, I kind of got in my head that they talk like Phil Collins on South Park. I'm going to play the song that won me this Oscar here. You'll play in me.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah, it's...
So I guess the big question is $5. What's your verdict on this one?
I'd give it a try. It's a very plain game. It's reasonably well done mechanically, but it doesn't change very much throughout, where you just beat up the same guys over and over, and there's not really a change up like in Final Fight where you fight Poison and you have to deal with Poison a different way, or where you fight Axel and you have to fight him a different way because he actually blocks your moves. There's not a lot of things like that. You will pretty much approach every single character the same way except the ninjas and the final boss. And it kind of gets a little tedious for about a 2-hour game, and you'll finish it very easily, and you might not feel the need to ever go back to it after you're finished with it. But for what it is, it's solid. It looks fine if, the animation works, even if it doesn't have a whole lot of character to it. The music's alright. It constantly sounds like it's trying to imitate other songs, but there's no other song. Like, how you'll have something that sounds like the Rocky theme and it's one note off? Mm-hmm. It kind of sounds like it's one note off from other themes, but it's not there are no other themes that it's ripping off. So, I mean, it's all right. It's a solidly put together game. It's just not super exciting, and you'll get through it fast, and you'll probably won't have the hankering to play it again.
Well, I think it sounds pretty good. And considering we used to drop like $50-$60 for games like this on the NES, I think $5 doesn't sound too bad, especially for trophy hunters on the Vita. I'm sure people are going to grab that for an easy platinum.
It's an easy platinum, yes, definitely. I know you'll probably pick it up because of that.
I'm not much of a trophy guy, but I still might pick it up. It's only $5, so.
If it's on the Xbox, you might, because I know how you. Do they do the points anymore? I don't have an Xbox One.
Gamer score? Yeah.
Yeah, gamer score. Because I know you like your massive gamer score.
Yeah, but the game's not on Xbox, so I can't grab it there.
Okay. So, sorry.
But thanks so much for checking this one out for us, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon.
No problem.
All right, next game to talk about is called Super Arcade Boy in Defender of Planet Earth, developed and published by LoadUpGames.com. It released October 20th on Steam, an Xbox One Creators Collection for $1.99, a retro-style classic side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, Super Arcade Boy's debut. Meet Super Arcade Boy, an arcade champion in the past and now a planetary freedom fighter. Fly him through 8 levels while defeating waves of enemies and bosses. Have amusing conversations with the aliens you are destined to defeat. Cole Martin, you're covering this one. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah, I think I sound different than I did 2 minutes ago. And I don't know why.
Maybe it's like less ASMR-ish.
I don't know. It feels like it's a whole new day for me.
Water bottle.
Oh, water. Yeah, water could help.
Fucking knew it.
Oh, if only people heard the 15 minutes we spent before recording this review. Anyway, what is Super Arcade Boy in Defender of Planet Earth?
It's pretty much like you described. It's a 2D shoot 'em up style game. Very heavily pixel art-ish. Not really anything that's gonna blow your socks off, but it is a $2 game. So for that, it's actually pretty well done. You start off with each level with a wave of enemies that are coming at you. Your little ship has just one weapon to start with, but if you take out every enemy within each wave, then you will get a power-up. These can range from speed boosts to little bombs that projectile just shoot out of the bottom of you and take out anything below, to weapon upgrades, which will like let your gun fire in a V shape. You can stack up on these power-ups as they come at you as well. So if you manage to take out several waves continuously, then you kind of be a little overpowered as you go into the boss fight. There is a boss at the end of each wave, or at the end of the level, not necessarily the wave. The bosses are pretty simple. It's just a ship that moves up and down the right side of the screen, and will fire 3 projectile waves at you. So you want to avoid the bullets naturally and take out the boss. It's not anything overly complicated. There's nothing in the way of upgrades or anything that, you can take with you as you level up. It's just
old school to the bone.
It's just shoot and go. And that's that. There's not a whole lot of meat and potatoes here. But
it's a $2 game.
It's a $2 game.
Did you have any noticeable gripes with the game? Because I spent a little bit of time with it. I did have a handful of minor things that I think could easily be patched. And with the Creators Collection, I think these are games that are going to see frequent updates. And I know there's talk of eventual possible promotion to like a full ID at Xbox release. I felt the controls were kind of touchy. I would feel like I would move left and right, but I would still find myself moving up and down as well.
Well, there was one instance in level 2 where there's only a small narrow area that you can go through, And then once you come out of that other area, you can move back up again to safety, from anything being on the ground that might attack you. But I found several times I would try to move up and it would dart me back and I would hit the wall. And the wall would fuck up my world. And since, one hit, you lose that life and you've got to start at the beginning of the level again.
Yeah,
I lose all 3 lives and it's game over.
Yeah, I found myself moving in diagonals a lot more frequently than I expected. I also wish that I appreciate the power-ups coming after you kill those 4 enemies at once. I kind of wish they were set power-ups instead of random, because there's a chance, like, the one time I played, I got 2 speed power-ups and 2 point power-ups, and, like, no bomb, no weapon.
Yeah.
And it just, I wish there was more consistency on what you got.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the other things, too, that bothered me was, if you have the bomb, for example, and you're on a level that has platforms in the center, and you've got to go above, and the enemies may be on the bottom, their bullets can come through that patch of dirt or whatever you want to say it is there in the middle and can hit you, but your bomb won't go through it to hit them. It'll just hit the ground and blow up early.
Basically, they're filthy cheaters.
Yeah, it's a little inconsistent in that regard. One other thing that kind of hiccuped for me was every 10,000 points you get an extra life. And I found that I would earn the extra life and it wouldn't take it into consideration when I died. I would die and still have extra lives at the top that I didn't get to make use of. And it would say game over because I was on my 3rd technically and not. So I wouldn't use the 4th and 5th that I had saved.
Interesting.
Also the bosses, there doesn't seem to be any variation in the boss attacks. It's just 3 bullets at a time. And after a while, they speed up, and then that's it. That's the end.
Yeah.
And the next boss does the exact same set of attacks at the exact same speeds. Speeds up after a few minutes, and that's the end. It's like a little variation in the bosses. Because I was impressed by the variation of enemies in the levels. Those got more, intricate, but the bosses, their battle sequence just remained the same over and over and over.
Yeah. The other 2 small gripes I have is I wish you could skip the talking before stages. Yeah. Just because
when you have to start it over and over.
Yeah, after you play the same stage a couple of times, you're like, all right, yeah, you're coming, I'm a noob, whatever. Let's just fucking get on with it. And then
it's funny, the first time, the 10th, you're just like, I'm done.
Yeah. And then I wish you could shoot faster.
I actually wish that the fire was on the trigger. It's on I think it's A and B both. Yeah. And there's none of the other buttons do literally anything.
See, I'm fine with that because I grew up playing Gradius and R-Type and stuff, so hitting an actual face button to shoot doesn't bother me. I just wish you could shoot faster because as you get further into the game, the enemies, especially the groups of 4 that drop those power-ups, they move faster and faster, and trying to actually kill the 4 of them with how slow you fire, it's near impossible.
Yeah, it really is. Other than that, one of the things that struck me about it was, even though it is roguelike and you die, that's the end, this is one of those games where I think small kids that are just getting into like shoot 'em ups and stuff would actually have a really good time with this because it is so simplistic. Like, I could see number 3 sitting down because she only has to move a couple buttons at a time. She could sit down and play this, and if she died, oh well, she'd just try it again because kids are resilient. But they don't get mad and throw and break controllers like adults do. But I could just see her spending a lot of time. Yeah, God damn it,
honey! What did you say? Fuck you, Mom.
Again. But
I got aliens to kill, Mom. I ain't got time for your shit right now. Give me a cigarette.
I see an added bonus to it though, and it's surprisingly kid friendly because a lot of the shmups we play are not. They're bullet hells, and they're just constant barrages. and it's complicated for a little kid to learn those kind of patterns and maneuvers. So this is like ideal for that like 4 to 6 age group that's just getting started with this kind of stuff. Although to be fair, a 2-year-old could probably play it because kids these days are way better at games than we were.
Very true.
So like I've seen number 3 sit down when she was 2 and play Goat Simulator and get achievements. So maybe a younger kid could do it as well. But I'm gonna guesstimate the 4 to 6 crowd.
Yeah. And then despite our gripes, they're all kind of like quality of life things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a $2 game, so we can't expect this to be gaming perfection for $2. I'll say for $2, I think this easily qualifies for a fuck it, why not? Or if we're going for the younger audience, fudge it, why not?
Yeah, I fidgety foo.
Fluff it, why not?
I can agree with a fuck it, why not? Definitely for $2. And like I said, for kids, I think kids would have a really good time getting into shmups with this.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on. I know this was a quickie for you, but you'll be back on again soon, right?
Yeah, I think next week you're going to be spammed with Eternal again, so, prepare yourself.
So, any final words?
No, never. Just prepare. Ah.
All right, next up, we're going to talk about Stern Pinball Arcade's Ghostbusters table, and who else are we going to bring in besides Grant Henry? Grant, how are you doing today?
I'm good. One quarter of Ball Squad reporting in, sir.
Well, I'm the other quarter, so half of Ball Squad is here.
Oh, that's cool. That'll work.
Oh,
Good
shit.
enough.
Does that mean I have to play the song?
It's up to you.
Let's play the song.
Okay.
Ball squad, shoot from the skill shot, it's a house ball. Ball squad, shoot the green like a muck shack pie. Mike is the simulator, Mel is the zen. Show with the milky voice, image the U-buffet. Ball squad, with a ball squad.
So, welcome back to Ball Squad.
Are we the ball squad? Are we the ball part or the squad part?
I'm going to say that we're the balls.
That's exactly the right answer.
Because we are scrotastic.
That's right. You know it.
Anyway, Stern Pinball Arcade Ghostbusters, developed and published by Farsight Studios. It is available right now on Xbox One and PS4 for $9.99, or part of Pack 2 for $19.99. Coming soon to Steam and all other platforms, hopefully shortly. The Ghostbusters pinball experience highlights the humor of the film as the player progresses through the game, and also includes custom speech by original Ghostbusters cast member Ernie Hudson, who guides the player to become the newest member of the Ghostbusters team. Grant, what did you think of this table?
Have you played the real table?
I have not played the real table, but I have played the digital table, so I guess I'm kind of an expert now.
There you go. Well, it's an interesting. So just so people know, the Stern Pinball Arcade, it's specifically Stern tables, and they seem to be focusing mostly on newer stuff. So stuff released from 2010 and forward. They've got Star Trek on there, which I think was 2012. They've got Mustang, which was like 13 or 14, something like that.
AC/DC's on there, which is a fairly new one.
Yeah. So Ghostbusters is the newest one, other than, I guess they've released a couple since then, but Ghostbusters was like this time last year or end of last year. So they're trying to keep things fresh. Stern just released Star Wars, a brand new Star Wars pinball machine. Maybe we'll see that in Stern Pinball Arcade. Who knows? But for now, we do get Ghostbusters, and it's a very different machine. I think I will say that this is definitely an accurate representation of the real machine. The thing that is strange about it is what is strange about the real machine, and that is that there are a lot of things that are just different. Like the people who play a lot of pinball are used to slingshots being down near the flippers where it bounces the ball back and forth. Mm-hmm. The Ghostbusters machine in the arcade actually doesn't have traditional slingshots. It doesn't have a little coil that slams the ball when it hits the rubber band. It actually has a series of magnets down in that area, and it completely changes the way the ball handles.
It does. It was so trippy when I first played it, and I'm like, holy shit, that didn't move like it was supposed to move. And at first I'm like, like, is there something glitchy with the physics? And then I realized, oh wait, no, it's Ghostbusters. The table is fucking with me.
Yep. It totally screws with you, which I think is fun. But I think, if you play a lot of pinball and you play a lot of pinball arcade, there's sort of an expectation about what a ball's going to do by the time you get to that part of the table. You know what I mean? Down near the flippers, and it messes with you, man. Like it's a little wild.
There's a learning curve for sure.
There is. The only other thing I'll say is that the table in general is very busy. You probably noticed that too. There's a lot of toys, a lot of cool buildings, things that can kind of obscure your vision when things get up near the top of the playfield, and sometimes it's hard to figure out what like the text on the little inserts will say. It's a really fun table. It looks like a table full of toys. It's kind of fun. Feels like the movie, but it's a lot. And I found, just as someone who likes to play on his vertical monitor on Steam, I played this on PS4. I guess you play yours on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
It came out there first.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to see just because of the way you have to tilt the table on a horizontal display. I'm excited to try it on Steam just so you can kind of see the top of the playfield a little easier. But the more, again, with all tables, the more you play, the better you get at it, the more you figure out what to do. And as usual, Stern Pinball Arcade has their tutorials that they set up, so you can kind of go through each section one at a time and figure out what exactly you're supposed to do to go through missions and modes and things like that. So overall, it's solid. It's just a lot to take in. It's something that you probably want to spend a little more time exploring rules and things there's certainly some surprises as far as the flippers and other things go. So
yeah, the heavy use of magnets in that table just really, like, I would shoot a ball somewhere and I would think, oh well, that clearly didn't. Oh wait, never mind, it just shot up out of nowhere. Yeah.
I haven't yet had the magnet grab the ball and throw it directly into the center of the table, but I will say that in the arcade, it's happened. Which magnets just do that. There's that element of chaos, and sometimes it will literally take the ball and throw it down the middle as fast as it can.
That is so dickish.
It is. That's the nature of physics, and that kind of stuff. I'm sure it will happen in Farsight's version as well, but. I'll say I also had to adjust the brightness settings. Luckily, there's some brightness settings in there. I turned the table ambience down and turned the brightness up, just so you can really see what's lit up on the table. That helps some too.
I'm
overall,
glad you're here to talk about stuff like that, because I wouldn't think to go into the settings and mess with stuff like that.
Yeah, the only reason I even thought about it is when Stern Pinball Arcade first came out, it was really dim. Everything looked dim, and then I think after about a month, they put a patch up that gave you lighting settings, because you really couldn't tell which, like all tables have rollovers at the top where you try to get all three lit by hitting the flipper buttons. You couldn't tell which ones were lit up on AC/DC at all, but they've since fixed it, and then you can change it per table. And that helped a lot, just to kind of figure out what, how it is in pinball, you shoot what's flashing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you need to see what's flashing. So that helped too. But overall, solid table. If you like Ghostbusters and you like modern pinball with really, really deep rule sets, I'd say it's a solid purchase. If you like the tables you've played so far, there's nothing particularly different about this one in terms of physics or anything else. It's just, it is Ghostbusters. So
now, is this something that you would advise someone to pick up a single table, or is it better to just grab Pack 2 that has that and other tables?
Well, I don't have it in front of me. Do you know what the pack includes for
let me look it up. I was trying to sneak and find it quick while you delayed.
No, I didn't stall well enough, did I? No, I think you said 15 for the pack, or is it? It's 10 for the
20,
table.
It's 10 for just Ghostbusters, 20 for the pack, and it originally included Harley Davidson 3rd Edition, High Roller Casino, Mustang Premium, and Last Action Hero, and now they're including Ghostbusters with it as well.
So $20 gets you all 4 of those tables?
All 5.
All 5? List them again. So it was
Harley Davidson. High Roller Casino, Mustang, Last Action Hero, and Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, wow.
And Ghostbusters.
That's a pretty damn good... That's... Okay, I mean, I'll say that Last Action Hero and Phantom of the Opera are two of my favorites in the whole game. Last Action Hero specifically. I've played that table way too much. And if you like older machines from the 80s, Phantom of the Opera is pretty awesome too. So that's totally worth the 20. If you're going to spring 10 for that, you might as well get 4 more tables, two of which are two of my favorites. Good grief. That's a hefty pack. When it first came out, they were just doing 3 at a time, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's good. That's a good deal.
Yeah, and if you already own Pack 2 from previous purchases, you have the table already.
That's what confused us.
I know.
it confused. I'm like, anyway, I did have it already. So, heads up, if you bought that pack the first time, go turn the game on.
It's there. It is waiting for you, and you could play it right now and enjoy all the fun voice clips in there. This might be one of the few pinball tables I've heard with a bleep in it.
Yes, it has a bleep, and it's got, all the killer music from the movie. And also really cool remixes, too, and orchestra hits, and every time it Who Brought the Dog makes me laugh.
And it was very interesting and surreal to hear Bill Murray in a pinball table. Yes, absolutely. They were able to get, I guess, approval to get everyone's likeness in that
Made it
game,
happen.
so
that's what they do, I guess.
Good stuff. Well, Grant, thank you so much for coming on and chatting about Ghostbusters with me. We got to get like full ball squad back together one of these days.
Yes, we need to have a follow-up call, see how the project that they're working on together is coming along. Probably not at all, right?
Probably. That's my guess.
That's my guess.
Grant, thanks again for coming on. Do you have any final words to wrap this up?
Oh, thanks for having me. Ball Squad!
All right, and finally tonight, we are bringing in our good friend Tim Agabus to help wind up the show. Tim, how are you doing today?
Good.
That's it? Just
Great.
Good? Just
yeah.
Good. Let's
very, very good. There's some good games to talk about here and next week.
There's so much good stuff coming out. It's insane.
It's October, man. This is when the good stuff's supposed to come out. We're in the thick of the holiday season. I didn't even realize it.
We are balls deep in the holiday season.
Yeah, though not as much I feel like not as much AAA stuff hits as it used to. There used to be holiday seasons where I was literally buying a AAA game every single week. And now
it's still crazy, man. It is still
there's
insane.
still a lot of games coming out. It's just more indie stuff. I mean, I have like 5 games I'm juggling between right now.
Ooh, which ones?
Well, I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn for about 2 months now, on and off. I'm still playing Metroid. I'm still playing Cuphead. And then, Judge, which I'll be talking about right about now. And then another game for next week that I started last night.
A lot of good stuff, man. A lot of really, really good stuff.
And then
what's
Mario
coming out that you're looking
Friday.
for? Yeah, Mario's coming out next.
I just said it. Mario's coming out. There you go.
Next Friday. Holy shit. Mario, Assassin's Creed, and Wolfenstein.
Oh my god.
What the
I am looking
fuck?
for that Assassin's Creed. Seems like it could be good.
And then Fire Emblem Warriors is out like by the time people hear this.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. I saw that was out this week. But yeah, it's like Mario, that is the big one. Like Etrian Odyssey 5 came out this week. My eye is on that for sure. I'm one of those people.
Oh, I wish I knew.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't going to have time to play that right now. I didn't even buy it. Like, I'm just like, no, there's no way that I will have time.
Yeah, Evil Within just came out. South Park just came out. Shadow of War just came out.
Yeah.
And us with no time at all.
Yeah.
We should probably chat about what you're here to chat about, and that is, you mentioned before, Judge, developed and published by 10 Tons, that released October 19th on the Switch for $14.99. Build Your Judge.
That's yesterday.
It
when
is.
This goes up.
Build Your Judge. Enter Edenburg, get out alive, build your own cybernetic judge in this lawful but awful rogue hate top-down shooter where you get to eradicate crime in the never-sleeping megacity of Edenburg. And the reason that they call it a rogue hate is because of, this takes place in the same world as Neon Chrome.
Oh, okay.
And people were annoyed with like some of the roguelike elements in there, so this doesn't have them.
That's cute.
So what'd you think of this game?
Oh god, this game's pretty good. So you'll see from the title of this game, it is pronounced Judge. It is spelled J-Y-D-J-E, which makes you want to go like Jidge or Jige. This game is got some fucking stupid story thematic stuff going on. It's like, obviously like kind of a send up of like Judge Dredd / RoboCop. But what really hits it home for me is their just abuse of the letter Y and subbing it in for random vowels in all of the Judge's equipment. Like the shotgun is a shot GYN. Your rocket launcher is a RYCKET, like a ricket launcher. Like, you know how everything in Mortal Kombat, any K sound starts with a K automatically because it's Mortal Kombat. It's like that in this. And it's everywhere, but you don't always notice it right away. So it just keeps making me laugh. And it's really just funny in that way. Like your weapon is called the Gavel, which is, it looks like a rifle, but it has like a hammer at the end of it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that stuff is pretty great right there. That did a lot to endear this game to me. Unfortunately, the game itself also endeared itself to me. We're kind of like a Hotline Miami type shooter scenario that you get dropped into this small discrete level, and you got to go through, kill the bad guys. There's way more objectives, whereas in Hotline Miami, it was just go and kill everybody, get out. But in this, yeah, there might be hostages, there might be certain targets you have to kill, there might be evidence you have to pick up, and the levels are really pretty dynamic in that you can blow up walls, blow up doors, blow open windows. So lots of like fun kind of creative stuff can happen in any given level. But yeah, you roll up in your police car, you hop out, the door opens vertically, because of course it does. You go through, shoot dudes, you might need to murder them all, might need to rescue some hostages, and then you get out. Each level is going to have like it has kind of like a main objective and then 2 other bonus objectives, which could be, kill everybody, like confiscate all the paraphernalia around the level, make sure you rescue all the hostages, make sure you kill this one guy over here or something like that. Like there'll be optional objectives, optional like mini bosses scattered through levels, which makes it sound like these levels are big, but they're pretty compact. Lots of different stuff. And as you meet those objectives, you gain medals. And as you gain medals, that starts unlocking you stuff for customizing your judge. And when they talk about customization, they are not fucking around in this game. There is almost too much stuff.
Oh,
I would say there's almost a problem of like too many things in that, like, well, I'll get into it. So it's like you have your judge, you have your character who you can buy and equip cybernetic enhancements for. So it's like whenever you hit a certain tier of medals, like you hit 10 medals, you might unlock some cyber enhancements to purchase, like some gun modifications to purchase, some gun types to purchase, some special weapons to purchase. And as you unlock the stuff, you have to purchase all of it, but you're always getting money. So you generally have money to do some upgrades. But yeah, now, starting with the judge.
Is that a cumulative thing? Like the medals, once you hit like 20 medals, it unlocks this stuff, but you don't lose those medals?
Right. Yeah. It's just like as you hit certain milestones, like you're not choosing what to spend them on. You just, as you hit them, like more stuff is becoming available.
That's good. Cool.
Yeah. So you start out with, I think, 2 slots on your judge. It might be just 1, and then you have to pay to unlock more. So you have these just passive abilities. So they could range from you have more health, you have more armor, to you have a little laser drone that follows you around in the level for like the entire time or until it gets destroyed. You have things that might help you with stealth. You have things that might increase your like melee attack or whatever. Or there's a thing that electrocutes guys if they're too close to you. like a bunch of different stuff. Then you move on to your gun. So you have different shot types. You have like your machine gun, your shotgun, laser rounds, like electricity, different versions of plasma rounds, like all kinds of stuff. I haven't unlocked everything yet. There's a preposterous amount of stuff to unlock. And yeah, so you have your types, but then there's also different modifications you can put on your gun that might you gain health when you kill things. You have greater range. Your shots don't kill hostages. That one's important sometimes. You shoot faster. You might stun people. There's piercing. There's a bunch of stuff. Then you have your special weapons, which is like rockets. You can have little spider drone things that run around, like different types of grenades and stuff. So there's obviously a lot of customization options for your character, and you're gonna probably not just stick to like one set, because as you beat levels, you start to unlock the hardcore versions of them, which have their own, they're like little tweaks on the layout with different objectives. They're generally harder.
Shocking. But you are, depending on the type of level, you may need to make adjustments. Like if there's a bunch of hostages in a level, you might want to have the hostage thing equipped on your gun. There's a hacking thing you can install on yourself. So if there's a lot of terminals to hack in a level, you might want that hacking thing. But if there's nothing in a level to hack, like there's one level like at the beginning of the second act, which is just a straight up action standoff. Like you have to work a shift in a bad neighborhood, so guys are just coming out. It's just a straight up action level. But you don't need to really hack things, so you should, beef up on your health, beef up on your attack power. You don't really need like any kind of stealth abilities or whatever. You don't need to be sneaky. You just need to kill and survive. A level might have a lot of melee characters, so you need something that will either keep them back or keep you defended against them. Lots of considerations. Lots of stuff to do. I know this game has been like blowing up on Steam. The guys at 10 Tons have said that this has been one of their best selling games they've seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
So I want to know, is the hype worth it? Does this get the Tim Ekibus stamp of approval?
Yeah, I have one gripe. My one gripe is that as far as the level progression goes, those medals you're collecting also go towards unlocking levels. So it's like I hit a point at the end of the second act where I needed almost 20 medals to unlock the first level of the third act.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, so now then I had to start going back through previous levels, like a lot of previous levels, to start earning those medals. And that kind of sucked. I just wish, like, either when you beat a level, you automatically unlock the next one. That seems like it would probably be a little bit too easy. But I wish it was a bit lower on the medal count to unlock the new levels, because I have plenty enough incentive that I was just sitting there thinking, like, I was kind of avoiding the hardcore missions at first. I'm like, oh, I'll come back to those, later on for my second playthrough. But then I realized, like, oh no, I actually need these medals if I'm going to progress in the main storyline. So that kind of sucked. But, it really is a minor gripe, because the game is just a lot of fun to play, and I love having tons of options for my character to, just different weapons to try out. Another minor gripe, though, because there is so much stuff to spend money on when you unlock like a new gun type, it's kind of a risk to invest in it. Because I've mainly been using the heavy laser, because it usually kills things I shoot at in one hit. You have to be super accurate with it, but it'll kill them dead as long as I'm aiming well. It like bounces off walls. It's like my favorite gun so far, but I've really put a lot of money into that. So to get something comparable, I have to put a lot of money into a new gun. But sometimes I might do that just to find out, oh, I don't really like this gun that much after all, and I could have spent that money on other things. So that's kind of a bummer too. But bottom line is that the game is really well made and really fun to play, and there's just so many options. It's really good. I really like it.
Nice. And with Neon Chrome and Judge both hitting the Switch in like the past week and a half or so, 10 Tons is kind of kicking ass on the Switch.
Yeah.
Because they did
Hell
Sparkle
yeah.
that you liked as well.
Oh, nice. Thanks, 10 Ton. Yeah, wow. Yeah, God, there's so much stuff coming out on the Switch. It's ridiculous. I saw someone I follow on Twitter remarking how more stuff is coming out on the Switch in a week than used to come out on the Wii U in a month.
Seriously, it is crazy how much shit is coming out.
Yeah, but as an action game, like the Judge has my firmest of recommendations for Switch owners.
Sounds good.
And non-Switch owners, really. It's out on everything, but heck, portable.
It's on
If you got a
everything,
Switch,
so
why wouldn't
fucking
it's
buy
like
the thing.
$15, I think. 15.
Yep, $14.99 plus
Yeah.
your local state sales tax or
Yeah, that's fine.
whatever comparable.
It's fine. There's plenty of tons of value in this game.
Sounds good. Well, Tim, thanks for covering that one. Do you mind sticking around a little bit and doing an email review, and I'll take care of one as well?
Well, I said I would beforehand, so I'd be a real dick to back out now.
Well, I was trying to make it seem natural in the progression of the show. We didn't discuss this beforehand. All right, next game to talk about is called Foxyland, developed by Bug Studio, published by Aura Monkey. It released October 17th on Steam for $2.99 and on the Xbox One Creators Collection for $1.99. Ah, love. How beautifully, in one word, my mind is racing, my stomach flutter butterflies, heart racing. Are you willing to do anything to give 1,000,000 cherries, collect all the jewels, and even save your favorite? That is the direct written description off of Steam, by the way.
Nice.
This is pretty much I think the Xbox One, the Creator Collection that they have going on is basically their answer to what the Xbox Live indie game section of the store was, where it's a lot of stuff made by one person or a very small teams that can't afford having bigger releases. Games like this, they feel more like apps than actual games. When I first started, the game had a little pop-up that's like, this game is asking permission to see your friends list. Yes or no.
Wow.
So it's like a whole different section of Xbox games, and you could tell that it just doesn't feel as polished as most normal games. I've dabbled with a couple of the Creator Collection. There's some good stuff in there, and this one is enjoyable. It is a 2D collector platformer thing. Basically, you'll have a level. You have to collect 3 or 4 diamonds, whatever is in the level. Collect as many cherries as you can along the way and get to the exit. And obviously, when it starts off, it's fairly easy as you progress through the game. They add enemies, they add shooting traps, they add spikes, pits, everything else, just to make sure that you're on your toes and you're learning to get good. The game does have, I think my biggest gripe with it is that the gravity for the character, when you jump, it seems to drop like a rock. I'm just so used to...
Like Simon Belmont?
Yeah. It's just so quick when you jump up and then back down. You don't have much reaction time. There's no floatiness to the character, which I think would help a little bit more in this game, to have just that little bit of, half second of reaction time when you're in the air. Some of the jumps, they end up turning into blind jumps, and because of how fast he falls, you have no chance to react. Some of the hitboxes on the enemies are kind of janky. I felt like I was jumping on enemies, but they would hit me instead. Even something like your invincibility frames after you get hit seems to end way too quickly. I don't know if it's an issue where, how some games, if you overclock them instead of just giving you a better frame rate, it speeds the game up as well. I kind of wonder if it's something along those lines where everything just seems a little bit faster than it should be. Content-wise, there's only 27 levels in the game, so it's not a huge game, but it's also only $2, so it's not a huge monetary investment for the time investment. I thought it was cute. I thought it was enjoyable, and it's only $2. Games like this are like the epitome of the fuck it, why nots.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a cute, time-killing platformer, it's only $2, so fuck it, why not? It's worth checking out. The one thing to remember is that these Creator Collection games do not have achievements, so if you're into Xbox achievements, out of luck on this one. But otherwise, again, $2, fuck it, why not?
Fuck yeah.
Final game to talk about today is called Silvio 2, developed and published by Stroboscope. It released October 11th on Steam for $14.99 and is planned for consoles eventually as well. All Julia ever wanted was to go back home. With the help of her ghost recording equipment, she makes her way through flooded landscapes, buried houses, and abandoned apartments. This is calm psychological horror with emphasis on atmosphere. Our friend Dark Mika wrote in a review for this one, and Tim, you're going to read it for us.
I will. All right. Silvio 2 is listed as an adventure horror game. I wouldn't classify it as such. Instead, I'd say a walking sim with a creepy aesthetic with a very minor puzzle construct. You play as Juliette looking for her boyfriend. You kind of explain this stuff. Sorry not to run over, but play as Juliette looking for her boyfriend, Jonathan, by using ghosts to find his location. While doing this, you also find out what happened to all the ghosts, which is interesting. You use the ghosts via an audio recorder and a video camera, both of which capture ghost activity. You then have to decode the recordings to understand what's being said. The decoding is simple. You can play the audio-visual information forward or backwards and at 3 different speeds, fast, slow, normal. Using these, you figure out what is said by the ghosts so you can unlock clues which eventually point you towards a new location on the map. The puzzle aspect is very simple and easy. There's a checkbox which is shown the whole time you have a puzzle up, and when it gets checked, you found everything the recording has to offer. So you can simply go through the recordings on all speeds, going both directions, and solve each puzzle, or you can figure out where the noises are and use the correct speed. You can play the game correctly, use the correct speed and direction on it to save some time. Every puzzle is this exact same type of puzzle. This decoding is it as far as puzzles are concerned. That being said, I've never played a game where they had puzzles quite like this, so they're unique to me and I like them. The voice acting is great in this game. The visuals are just okay, but that's understandable considering this game was created to be able to be played on older Windows 7 machines. Not the oldest but fairly old ones. It has a decent sized open world. Well, so there, you got some good compatibility for this game if you got an old system. There's a decent-sized open world, which you travel around via boat, which can be done real-time, or you can sleep, quote-unquote, to fast travel there. The game only makes you visit a few of the islands for the story, but you can visit them all for extra stuff. For those who played the first game and really liked it, this will continue the story, but they probably won't like it as much because combat and all other puzzle formats that Silvio had were removed for Silvio 2, which is why it's more of a walking sim than anything else. I say it's more creepy than horror as well. There's nothing that's going to get you. There's no time restraints, no bad ends. You just walk around and hear the story of the dead, and as you do, and try to find your way to your man in a rather creepy environment. The game makes you feel like something will pop out to come get you at any moment, but that's not the case. It's just creepy as fuck.
I would enjoy that because I hate playing horror games that scare the shit out of me because I'm not a fan of jump scares, but just a creepy, spine-tingling scenario and just the feeling of it, but nothing actually happening. That's my kind of game.
Yeah. When I started playing Gone Home, about 15, 20 minutes in the game, I was like, wait, is this a fucking horror game? And nobody told me. No, it's just kind of creepy. All right. So this game is short. It can be completed in about 3 hours. I played halfway through and restarted because I thought I encountered a bug. I didn't encounter one. Okay. I played the game again from start to finish, and my total time, including time spent messaging devs thinking there was a bug and asking about some stuff, was 5.5 hours. I fucked about quite a bit. Now, as stated earlier, you can visit other islands, which provide more ghost tales and many more achievements, including maybe a secret ending of some sort. If you want to get all the achievements, do everything in the game, I'm going to guess closer to 8 to 10 hours. The ending was a big what the fuck moment. It was really exciting for me. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was awesome. The one caveat to the game I had was it's really slow. It's a walking sim. I like walking sims, so I like this game. However, it's not going to be for everyone because the whole game is fairly slow, and that will turn some people off because they want high-octane, fast-paced action and running away from monsters and shit. If you want that, you'll hate this. So for $15, if you played the first game and want the ending, get in. If you like walking sims and creepy atmosphere, get it. If you want fighting, running from enemies, or something fast-paced and story that isn't for you. To me, this is a total buy. I can't sell this to horror fans as a horror game because it really isn't. It's just a bit creepy, less amnesia, more Gone Home. If that appeals to you, then you'll like this.
Awesome. Sounds good. So if you have $15 and you want fast-paced action, pick up Judge. If you have $15 and you want slow, methodical creepiness, pick up Silvio 2.
And if you have like $3, then you get that
Foxyland, yeah.
Foxyland. Foxyland.
Such a great name. I'm excited to see more stuff come through that creator collection. I know they said that if games do really well, they could eventually possibly get like a full quote unquote release.
Cool.
Support indie devs. Let's see some dreams come true that way.
Yeah.
But Tim, thank you so much for joining and keeping me company at the end of the show here. We are going to wrap things up with some music from Cal that we talked to earlier in the show. And
Cool.
Off of his Anireal album. Again, it's a charity album, so go find that. The link in description, all that other fun shit. Just look below the video and you'll see it down there. Tim, do you have any final words to end the episode?
I guess I can just say that next week I'll be on talking about The Mummy Demastered.
Yeah, I think that's all you could say right now.
I can't say anything else about it, but that is something that will be on next week's show.
eat my dick for breakfast.